Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Overwatch League 2020 playoffs. We're about to jump into Shock against the Justice. Hex, Shock want to defend their title, of course, but Justice have had a little bit of a resurgence with Decay coming into the roster and playing Zarya for them as well. So it's been looking good for them thus far. Defeated Dallas yesterday 3-0. We'll see if they can do it against Shock. It's a tough ask though.
It is. I mean, they stomped Dallas 3-0, and they also won the game before, too, so there's definitely momentum on the side of the Washington Justice. However, I mean, Philadelphia has the #1 seed, but if you talk to people in North America, San Francisco is the most frightening team. It seems they can adapt to any meta, and we've seen teams have to adapt today. And Washington, I think, has played their hand. Like, their best comp and their best meta is when they're running Decay on that Zarya. It opens up room for Stitch, and there's a lot of things, so maybe San Francisco has a plan to counteract that. But I don't know if you can just counteract the kind of Zarya play we've been getting out of Decay.
Yeah, it's been absurd what he's been able to do on the Zarya, and it's made his other teammates look pretty good too, right? I mean, Stitch has also been on fire in the hit scan, so we talked a little bit about yesterday actually was Stitch not normally living up to what he was known for on things like Runaway. And even on Runaway, it wasn't like he was a star-studded performer like every single game. It was like, okay, Stitch is pretty good. But yesterday, I think it was some of Stitch's best form. And with all the pocketing that they were doing with Decay, it did allow them to kind of play around the space that it was creating, because the entirety of Dallas was just looking at Decay and like, okay, so we need to hack him, we need to hook him, we need to bubble everything because he's just destroying our entire front line and back line. They were just concentrating so hard on trying to subdue him, and then it just left Stitch and Tuba to basically do whatever they wanted. Yeah,
all the resources went into Decay, and a lot of that came from Aim God's Ana. He's going to be picking it up today. No surprises here from the Washington Justice starting lineup here. Stitch and Tuba, of course, come in. I really do want to see how Tuba plays today, if it's going to be a Sombra-oriented meta. He had a good game recently, but some of the stuff that I'd watched had me have a negative opinion of him was against this very San Francisco Shock team, where he likes to play close to the bleeding edge, but then San Francisco's so good at calling it out that he just gets headshot across the map. The peel is there, so can Tuba do something good there? But this Washington team, hey, if you're ever riding momentum, now is the time taking it in the playoffs.
Almost time to defend the throne. Yep, the Shock, of course, they want to do that. That artwork, by the way, is absolutely stunning. With Mr. Square Man in the center there, holding up square shield, or rectangle shield. Defending their throne, and I mean, we've already seen, I wouldn't say an upset, Valiant have looked extremely good, but Florida Mayhem were definitely the #4 seed, like the #4 seed, and it's always been kind of a battle for that top space as well. I think the top 4 and 5 teams have just been solidified for such a long time now. We'll see if this meta can actually swing in the favor of some other team. Of course, this is the opponent Justice going up against. They are the Shock, and I don't think you can really just sweep them under the rug and just like, you know, it's whatever, maybe the new meta will shake them, because every single member of the Shock is just so good on their individual role. And I'm excited to see maybe a little bit of Violet on maybe some Zen, and we're going to see a little bit of Ana, we're going to see a little bit of Mercy. Like, it's almost impossible to count that out, regardless of the meta and regardless of what heroes they're playing.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to be running double flex if you saw it, because Moth is in. Moth would definitely be playing either the Mercy or the Lucio. It depends if they want to go Brawl style or they want to end up boosting the long-range hit scan. But Violet is another damage dealer on this flex support. You look at those rankings, 2nd in hero damage, 2nd in healing done, final blows first, eliminations first, deaths, yeah, he dies a lot, whatever, I don't care. If you have 2s and 1s, all the column, all the way down until we get to deaths, I'm totally fine if you die a lot, if you're getting that much work done. Violet is the epitome of support violence. He does so much on that hero. And given the lineup for the Shock, it's going to be interesting to see what they run. North America has obviously today favored a lot of the Reaper brawly compositions, and I think at least for Control, with Ons out of the lineup, it does kind of speak that they're not going to be running an Ashe, or obviously not a Widow on Control either. So maybe a difference of styles here. I do think that Justice probably still running this Zarya, so we'll see what the Shock has for an answer for it.
I mean, Oasis too, obviously knowing the map coming in, it would make sense if they want to play Widow, that, well, they just wouldn't have Ansing because it's not really a Widow-centric map.
Yeah,
so
Oasis.
That also might tell a small tale. Of course, we'll have to wait and see if he does come in a little bit later on. But it's Striker and Rascal, and yeah, I can imagine Hex, we're going to see some Sombra, some Reaper, of course, Rascal, master of all things, it feels like at this point. Striker, you really going to play Genji, huh? I've seen a little bit of Genji the other day, and yeah, wasn't quite as successful as
we saw some Genji in APAC too. It is, I don't know. I mean, I should be happy about it, but yeah, Genji's not the meta. Genji's just not bad at right now.
It's like, nah, he's okay. Like, there are other picks that are better though, I think.
But Washington is probably going to run what they've run all the way up to this. Look, it's their winning formula. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We'll see what San Francisco has on the clapback here as Smurf is going to be running out on that Winston. Can he get damage on Striker? Okay, he was made for a moment, and now on the Reaper. San Francisco going Brawl, Washington going long range, hit scan, Zarya Hawk.
Oh, Choi was just hanging out there in the corner for a second. Don't want to get hooked though. Nice little nade onto Smurf, and oh, instantly taken down. They do trade for Aim God though, so that's a really good position for Shock to be in. You take out one support and a second one there as well in Arc, and that's pretty much the fight over and done with. Especially for someone like Ana too, who has so much just decent healing, can heal literally everybody. Mercy obviously a bit more of a targeted healer like Zenyatta is. Point unlocks, point is capped by the Shock. That's what they want to do though, Hex, ideally, right? They want to go hard and they want to go fast. They've got the Lucio, they've got the Reaper, they're trying to run into them when they get a hack off somebody.
Yeah, and the hack can be really good at pressuring out Decay as well. So if you hack somebody, he has to use an allied bubble. If you hack Decay himself, he may try to interrupt it, and now San Francisco just going after it.
Oh, there you go, there they go. Huh? I mean, that's what the comp does, Hex.
I was trying to
just press W and one.
I was going to toss it to you. I'm like, Jack, break down this play-by-play, do it, and you're like, ah, they're dead.
Well, they're dead.
That's kind of... It do be like that sometimes.
It does. It's so horrible too, right? Because if you think about where Aim God has to play, you have to play around these archways to kind of support your tanks in the front line. Decay and Janu are going to want to push up, look for hooks, look for bubbles, making sure Janu stays alive. But then San Francisco Shock, they open up with a cold, jump in on Aim God or Stitch, and then there's very little ability to escape and very little peel there because you're playing in like two separate little units.
Yeah, Washington is going to come up on ults now, and I'd imagine if this does not work, we might see a compositional change, but it's also possible they just roll with the same thing all the way down. Bob is in to open up space.
Yeah, that's not bad. And Choi's been hacked too, so he has to actually get off the point. This might just be a complete cap here with no real fight. Moth also went down on the side. Tuba finishes him off, and now he has the EMP. Shock also has the EMP for themselves too. Does Tuba actually want to use it here? I doubt it. Yep, Striker and Smurf are going to go down. And that will just be it. They've got a lot of tools in the bank though, Hex. 60%, not the worst position you could be in once you find a reflip, especially if you have an ult bank like Justice currently does. They're nearing 6 ults with Stitch building up his second Bob almost.
Well, it's 2 fights, and yeah, that's what the great thing about that last fight was. They won it just with throwing a Bob on the point, and now Stitch is going to have it all the way back. And obviously, if you're running long-range hit scan, you want to be in this defensive mode, in control of the point, so that you can get damage on the way in, rather than just getting rolled over. San Francisco going to hit the go button.
Yeah, I think I missed it as well. Rascal doesn't have his EMP anymore, but there's a massive EMP from the Just. They threw everything at that, literally everything apart from the nano boost. They use Whole Hog, they use Valk, they use EMP. Oh, and grab, like, okay, Shock go instantly back to spawn. I wouldn't say that's the best use of your ultimate economy, but I mean, Tuba's been building up these EMPs pretty quickly. I think I missed it though, because Rascal didn't actually have EMP for that fight and was 17 on the entry, so it must have went off at some point. I just didn't quite catch it.
Maybe they got nano boost. Maybe, yeah, I didn't see it either. Washington did end up investing a ton into that, though. But like, I'm just curious if they're going to get Death Blossom value. Oh, never mind.
Absolutely not. No, the TP was so like you could see him just appear in front of you. Janu with the easy kill. Nice little hook as well onto the point, but now he is hacked. The bubble's going to stop him from going down as Decay trying defending his other tank. Janu's hack eventually wears off and he's able to take a breather as they get back onto the point. Self-destruct launching the small room, but perfect bubbles from Decay to save Arc. And now Decay is nanoed in the front. And EMP is going to stop him for the time being, but it doesn't stop him from doing the damage. 95% and building, and no one's taken him out just yet. And he's earned himself a grab. They got the Whole Hog as well, as they do manage to lose the point, but the Shock, they're on the back foot right now, Hex. Janu's going to Whole Hog straight in onto the point, and now they only have to deal with the cold. The Graviton Surge is going to lock him up, and they're going to be able to find the recap with only 10% more to go.
Can't fade out of that one, and now Tuba is in the optimal position for a Sombra. He has EMP on the defense. The moment anyone comes in just a touch, very likely going to be Smurf or Choyobin, they will get EMP'd right away. Tuba is just waiting for them to peek around the corner.
Smurf's going so low already, he needs to get taken out. There's the EMP, there's the Bob on the point. EMP from Tuba. Managed to find Choi and Violet, who's going pretty low. Death Blossom at least takes care of Decay, but the Bob is doing a lot of work here and just zoning out the rest of the Shock. It's going to find Moth and actually a D-Mech as well on Choyobin. Stitch ends up finishing him off too with the help of the damage boost, and OT is ticking down, and Washington Justice still controlling. Smurf is able to get back in time, but I mean, right now you're running into a Tuba with a hack, and Stitch is basically playing Duck Hunt. Well, Striker, he's on fire. OT is still here. They need a miracle pick at this point. Shock going to be able to maybe get a Coalescence off. They've got EMP available. They send that out to K. Janu and AimGod gets hit. AimGod can't use his nano boost, but it's going to eventually fade away, and he sends it out straight onto Decay. It doesn't matter what hero Decay is on. He's always receiving the nano boost. A D-Mech onto the Diva as the beat comes through from Shock. Both support ultimates now down. There's little hope for them now on this point, and the Justice still control. Stitch sends out another Bob as Tuber is nearing another EMP too. The Justice DPS line are doing so well currently. I mean, we talked Decay up, and of course we will, but Stitch was nigh on unkillable in that last, what, 30-ish%? And Shock was trying to attack into him. He earned himself 3 Bobs, Hex.
13 final blows for Stitch. The next closest on his team was Janu with 5. And you think about Stitch and Janu, former Vancouver Titans. How did they end up their run last year? Lost to the San Francisco Shock in the finals. That's got to be in the back of their heads. Titans Part 2, Electric Boogaloo, the Washington Justice out for vengeance here. And Stitch, once they got control of that point and he had a little bit of space, was hitting pay dirt.
Same kind of comps, maybe. Yeah, it looks like exactly the same comps as they were running on University as we jump over to Gardens. It's a bit more of an aesthetically pleasing stage.
Well, you just don't like University.
Yeah, I hate it. It really sucks. I hate being a support on that map. You just get dove from every angle at once. It feels awful. And the tanks can then run you down too. Doesn't feel great. Point unlocks in a couple of seconds. Janu and Decay trying to find a little bit of space here, but Rascal playing Gatekeeper at the moment with these hacks. Nice kill on Decay. Exactly what they're waiting for, right? It is the speed boost, they run forwards, and Striker gets a 4K. Not too bad at all. Good start for Shock. However, there is a cap going on. Yeah, Super almost managed to find the cap there, but he does TP away.
But it's exactly what happened on University. Washington just kind of sits there a little bit. They're never gonna be as fast to mid. They're never going to be as fast because they don't have a Lucio. But they kind of just wait around and then they just get leapt on. That's exactly how University started. Washington, remember, if you think about the first fight that they were able to pull off was when alts finally came online. That's gonna put you at about a 60% deficit overall. Washington's gonna have to find picks early on if they want to get in.
Oh, Smurf was on fire and he jumped in. There's the EMP, hits 3, Janu's dead. Stitch and AimGod as well are going to get hacked. AimGod gets run down on that Mega Health Pack. That's one of the best tools as well you can use, especially if you're on the offense. If you can control that Mega Health Pack, it can be just a good source to kind of run back to if you're a support or a tank. That's extremely low too, but right, if Rascal's stolen that away, which I believe he has, is just another thing they can do. Janu stop Justice getting space. Janu, he's dead. And no matter how many bubbles you throw at him at that point, there's not really much you can do. Decay is nearing this grab, which is a nice point, and he actually gets nanoed as the San Francisco Shock are just running into them. A Graviton Surge onto Smurf, who's currently just kind of chilling. However, the self-destruct launched towards Spawn did end up finishing off AimGod, and Smurf with the bounce kill onto Decay as well. That was a nice attempted turnaround by the Justice, just baiting the Shock in and nanoing Decay, but it was all for naught really, as the Shock continue to control the point.
Well, it's worked against other teams, lesser teams, if you will. It's not going to work against the San Francisco Shock, but this is when the Washington Justice are going to start trying to take control. Bob onto the point was how they ended up taking first control on the last round of this map. Tuba's trying to set up an EMP. Bob not in an ideal spot, so not getting any value this time.
Yeah, look at these hacks and these hooks too. Speaking of hacks, there's the EMP. Double nade on the tanks too, and Striker is in trouble. He does manage to use the Wraith Walk to get away, but Choyoba wasn't quite as lucky. The Coalescence is going to help in this healing, and a TP from the to the backline as well by Striker. Justice were not expecting that, and then a late beat by Moth as well just made sure both Rascal and Striker could stay alive. The Shock just are going to 100-0 this one, it feels like. I mean, you have Stitch near the point, yes, but he's in no mood to really do anything. Striker just jumps on him, solo Death Blossom on the DPS, and now Justice, they're in stall mode. Is Janu now on the Wrecking Ball? Decay has to just stay alive, hope he gets a Graviton Surge, but it's looking rather unlikely. The Shock are now just controlling. He's got it, but this is looking almost impossible. Janu gets tagged up as well, and maybe he gets a little bit of support here. They do nano Decay, throw out the grab, and it only finds Choi's Mech. He ends up finding the kill, and he's going to have to find a little bit more than that, and they don't quite end up touching the point for the recontesting on overtime, and Shock managed to 100-0 Gardens.
There's just not enough appeal for the Washington Justice backline right now, and they've gotten away with it the last couple of matches because their frontline has been so aggressive and taking on fights against teams that aren't running maybe pure dive against them. But if you notice, San Francisco is just running past either Decay or Janu, who are supposed to be on kind of protect the support duties. They go out, they see blood, they go after it, and then San Francisco leaps right past them. They're leaping onto Aim God, they're leaping onto Arc, and without your supports, I don't care how good your sustain is as a tank line, it's just not going to be enough, and they haven't been able to protect their supports well enough against this San Francisco coordinated dive that has been Rascal, Striker, and Smurf all the way in. And it's funny, they literally just walk past Zarya and Roadhog because there's no mobility, there's no kind of mobile peel that they have. And right now, Washington's going to have to figure that one out because Stitch is not going to be able to peel for his team either.
Yeah, he's got a coach gun, but doesn't really do too much against the Winston. And Striker and Rascal just jumping in. Although, ouch, that hurt. Smurf takes an early L. Same with Choi, gets demected and instantly killed, and that will be Striker going down as well. That's the point. Unlocking Injustice to cap this one rather easily. That will be it. I mean, these are the kind of points they want to fight on, right, Hex? At the end of the day, your comp, if it doesn't get flanked with the Lucio and the Moira, or the tanks can't run you down, is a good thing. And these small enclosed spaces is where Justice really want to take the fight to the Shock, because then the Shock are literally forced to run through Decay and Janu, which is pretty much impossible.
Well, I mean, that's why this map actually works out, because it's just this big roundabout. You saw Washington just kept backing up and backing up and backing up. Like, you can't dive on us if you can never get to us. You're just going to eat all the damage that our tanks do, and your tanks don't do from range. So they just kept playing it back, and so I think that the map actually favors the composition of the Justice here.
Oh, Smurf took so much damage. The mob is going to come out as well on the point. I'm not sure there's a hope for Shock now, as Rascal has also been hacked on the side, and that's going to be really Tuba's job as well. Just making sure Rascal can't get these free hacks down. He's a little bit less consistent, actually Sombra checking with Roadhog and Zarya. Choi on the Diva is going to have a much easier time in checking Tuba, so Tuba's going to have to be the one that's spotting out Rascal and making sure he either remains hacked or gets into a position where he can't actually hack because he's taking a little bit of damage here.
Yeah, absolutely. Washington, though, it looks very much like University. They win a fight, they use a Bob, now 6 ultimates ready. Rascal is going to have to hit some of these tank ultimates if San Francisco wants any chance of winning this next fight, and already nearing 70% now.
EMP's going to come out. Oh, that's a big EMP. That's 5 people from the Shock hacked up. And Janu with the whole hog takes 3 with him and some more as well. Oh, goodbye, Moth. Straight into the cars. Oh, Decay just punches him to his death, and now 80% for the Justice. They threw in pretty much everything again, but they have got Nano and the Bob coming up for this next fight.
Well, PSA, do not rollerblade into traffic here. And here is Rascal. He gets hacked!
Are you kidding me? Oh, man, that would look so good too, because he was going in with the EMP and then the self-destruct on top as well. But, oh, man. Final fight now. Bob comes out. Aim got still with a Nano. At least Shock have the beat to recontest. He should be able to do this. I mean, Striker's TP into the back line, unleashing the Death Blossom as well. Arc ends up going down. Striker gets kind of just like interrupted. He gets hooked out of it, but it's not going to mean anything. He ends up getting killed by Stitch, who's still alive and well in the back line. Someone has to deal with him. It's exactly the same stage as University Hex. It's exactly what happened again.
Yep.
Striker goes in for something deeper. Stitch stays alive and then just does all the damage in the world, just carrying the fight from the back line as everybody's trying to focus on Decay and killing Janu as well. OT is here with 99% building up. Smurf gets killed before he can get to the point. Same with Moth. Just takes a face plant to the ground. And the Shock, with a couple of members left, aren't going to make it back. And the Justice should be able to just clean it up. There's an EMP. A victory one. Choi is very sad. He gets EMP'd, manually hacked, and then naded. That will be it, as the whole hog will shove everybody off the point as well. And the Justice are going to be able to claim Oasis.
The Washington Justice making a statement, coming out strong here. I mean, you just kind of forget about round number 2 of this map, but their composition seems to be working really well. I kind of feel for Striker here, because without a Diva on the other side as a Reaper, you're like, oh, I'm getting 5-man Blossoms today. However, there's still Sleep Dart, there's still Hook, there's still Bubbles, and just not getting any value out of it. But it was the EMP from Tuba that came off a split second before Rascal got his off. That is how close Overwatch is. Literally milliseconds. If it goes the other way, who knows? We might be talking about, well, San Francisco comes out to a 1-0 lead. But, you know, like I mentioned, there's members on this Washington Justice team who tasted bitter defeat last year in the finals at the hands of this San Francisco roster. They get their revenge, and Washington's not doing anything tricky, nothing cheesy. They're just running decay at you and saying, nah, can you deal with it? Can you deal with it? So far, no.
Well, I'd still be pretty scared of the Shock because they have such a deep bench as well, right? I mean, that's maybe only one sort of comp they want to run on Control. They can just swap people in and out. It's like a big puzzle where every piece fits and has a perfect place to be. I mean, we even see Super on the Genji, so it could be really anything. Maybe picks up Widow. Maybe he's better than Arns. Who knows until Super actually plays it. We'll have to wait and see, of course. The Justice now one map up against the Shock. I'm not sure many people in their brackets, and I believe
it's their first map. First map they've ever beat San Francisco on, ever.
Are any brackets correct? I don't think anymore, especially with scorelines as well. I can imagine a lot of people were predicting 3-0 for the Shock. Washington Justice come out the gate swinging Hex. And going into the next map, will we see Shock change anything? What would you like to see?
I don't really love the Reaper, not against the Zarya. You have to like burn down the bubble, but then you're enabling Zarya, so I've not liked the Reaper at all unless it's a mirror match. We'll see. San Francisco has an innumerable amount of options.
Yeah, they do. We're going to jump to a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
I think we'll win the Grand Finals this year because we're extremely dedicated, focused, and our experience will be able to bring us a notch above the rest.
Oh, I definitely think we'll win. I always think Shock's the best at any meta, and I think we have a ton of time to prepare for this patch, and as patches develop, we always get stronger. So I think once we get to that point where we're in the finals, we'll be the stronger team.
저희가 상하이를 만나게 된다면 이기지 않을까요? 이거 이제 쓰인다고.
Welcome back, and your eyes do not deceive you. The Washington Justice are 1-0 up against the San Francisco Shock as we head into map number 2. It's going to be Kings Row.
Yeah, Kings Row, there are going to be some changes coming in for the San Francisco Shock. I don't think we're going to see many changes from Washington today. San Francisco is going to bring Ons in as well as Twilight, so this would lead us to believe long-range hit scan, move Moth to Mercy to boost that hit scan, and Twilight will play the Ana. So very likely what's going to happen. I could be wrong. Very rarely am I, so that's what I expect to happen on Kings Row. Control, you know, we do talk about it's a little bit of an outlier, but if you're Washington, taking any map off San Francisco just has to have your confidence sky high.
Yeah, this does look like such a brand new Washington as well, right? And what a fitting start to the series as well, taking a map off. And their first map off of the San Francisco Shock as well. So that must feel pretty good right now. Of course, it's still the Shock. I still don't want to count them out. I don't think you should ever count them out of a series, no matter how, I wouldn't say Oasis was one-sided, but just in general, like, you never want to count a Shock out. It's almost impossible to. They've got such a deep bench. It's like the Battle of Thermopylae, Hex, it really is, where Washington Justice are the Spartans and then the Persians are San Francisco Shock, and they're just trying to battle against the amount of players that the Shock can throw at the Washington Justice until it breaks.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, just running back that movie in my head, trying to think of a good line. All I can think of is someone getting kicked down into a well. I don't think that's going to happen to San Francisco. I would be stunned if they don't like come out really strong here. Kings Row is one of the best maps for San Francisco Shock anyway, and now we get to see someone to actually pressure Stitch from a distance, because when Stitch has gone nuts and had his great games, which, trust me, over the last couple of days, he has had plenty of great games. A lot of it is because no one's really even shooting at him, and it's not much of an issue. Now we've got Onzen, who leads the league in so many different categories. I think solo kills is super up there as well. So now Ons versus Stitch is the micro battle to watch. Will they have to divert resources to keep Stitch alive? Will that hurt Decay? Will this house of cards start crumbling down a little bit now? We shall see. And at least right now, San Francisco on the defense. It looks like they're going to mirror this with a Zarya and Hog combination of their own.
Yeah, there was almost no way they weren't going to run this, I think. Because, like you said, Stitch has just had an absolute field day. The amount of bobs he was generating on Oasis, on University, and on Gardens was just ridiculous. Like, actually ridiculous. You just need someone to put him in his place, and I think Arns is the perfect player to do that. I think Arns, especially as Widowmaker, probably the best in the world currently. His raw aim skill is astronomical. He's through the roof, so it's not too much of a shock to see that. Tuba's going to send out an early Sonic Arrow, and they're going to TP forward up to Hotel. Tuba's going to actually be on the Tracer here, unless he wants to swap anytime soon. Doesn't look like he does, though.
I mean, I'm okay with it. You can harass the backline. It also helps you get up to the high ground, where very likely there's going to be those hit scans in one of the supports. So, I mean, Sombra can be good, but Tracer does have the kind of a little more burst potential with her primary.
Oof. Okay, good start, killing off Arns. Should be able to get the res off, though. Moth is burning currently. Kind of needs healing. He has no HP. Someone help him. Tuba ends up finishing him off, and Arns. As soon as you take down the enemy DPS, the enemy's long-range DPS, if you're the Ashe, and it's exactly what Stitch did, you throw the dynamite towards the body, so the Mercy is on fire, and then Tuba just followed it up with an easy kill, and then a second one onto Arns.
Yeah, it's absolutely one of the reasons that you want to run a Tracer as well, so they can get to that and they can camp these, right? The mobility being there, right? And he gets up top, and now he's able to take them down in the back line. Sombra can't do that. Sombra's always in weird parts of the map trying to get hacks in, but when you need a target that has to be finished, Tracer is definitely going to be on the spot there. Triple blinks, and like I said, the damage output potential for a Tracer is great. The escapability, I really like that combination play that they're trying to run.
And as well, you can do the pulse bomb with the grab as well. Another nice little combo. Arns is going to have such a tough job here of actually trying to take down Stitch, who's already near a bob, by the way. He's just about leading up to it now. With Choi dead, that's it, there's the bob. And now you can't really do much if you're the Shock, because you only have Smurf at the front line. He's going to go fairly low as well. They're actually going to nano in. Oh, and a perfect sleep onto Rascal as well by Aim God. Yeah, there is no way Shock win this fight, and they lose their nano boost too, because Smurf didn't generate really anything of it. They're going to go for a flank, but it's just going to be dying on the payload to stall for some additional time, but the Justice currently, Eggs, just rolling through Kings Row.
And again, they're winning these fights without ultimates. They're winning in the neutral. Yeah, Stitch used Bob, but I mean, where would you really rank Bob as far as ultimates go? Look, I like the guy, but he's not the most effective dude ever. This sleep dart is absolutely nuts as well. Looked like it was the beginning of a translocation, and
he cancelled EMP again. I didn't even hear the voice line. It was so quick.
No, I didn't. Yeah.
What? So Rascal's EMP gets absolutely nothing because it got interrupted yet again. The amount of interrupted EMPs we've seen so far is absurd, and that's just today. Oh my word!
San Francisco doesn't have a kill. I'm not even going to quiz you on this one because I'm just stunned by it. San Francisco doesn't have a kill. It is 18-0.
I need to pay attention to Rascal's ult bank more. And,
yeah, it is.
Where's it going?
It's been
I can't
dodgy.
even hear the voice line.
I thought he was
Okay.
translocating when he got slept, but
Yeah. Okay, Arn's on Widow now. This is where you really want him, ideally. Though again, if Stitch is getting this perma pocket, that's a one-shot. Oh, and sure, he was on fire. Double headshot as well by Stitch. Bob in the back line, 2. Smurf going pretty low. Rascal suffering the same fate. Twilight ends up going down. Tuba takes 2 with him. And yeah, this is going to be it. Decay's just running to the back line. Arn's just desperately trying to kill Stitch, but it is not happening. In fact, you know who's up there? Ark is going to chase him down and kill Arn's. And that's it. That's the round's over. 4 minutes and 40 seconds for Justice, and if I covered both of the team names, Hex and the logos, you'd expect kind of the opposite team to be doing this, right? You'd expect Shock with that time bank, not Justice.
4 minutes and 40 seconds? I can't even count that high. I have watches that don't even go that high. What the hell? All right. 23-0, by the way, is the final kill count.
That's pretty cool.
I guess.
Pretty cool. Rascal had 1 EMP and it got interrupted by a sleep. Also, that EMP, can we talk about that just for a moment? Shock were kind of losing that fight, and it was like this was the big turnaround moment for them, was this big EMP, and that was their play to kind of set up, because with King's Row at least, it's very easy for the Shock. If they manage to win that fight with the EMP, you could just make the enemy team back off and then hold the gates. And they would have been able to hold there.
How good do you think Ark feels after he looked a little dejected? They got picked yesterday, and now Ark gets to fly and take down Ons.
He's like, wait, we're just going to win this. Wait, just win. That's it. Just win. Do you remember what we were talking about yesterday, Hex? With Boston saving their wins until the end of the season, how we talked about Shock using up all of their wins coming into the playoffs. Well, I'm just saying, like, look at this.
No, exactly. You know, like
that's how it works.
You got a finite amount of wins you're going to get each season, and you should be saving them. That is the 3rd fastest offense on King's Row ever. Ever.
Brand new Justice, baby. Okay, see what they do on the defense. Answer's going to be offense of using the Widow. So there's not as much upfront damage, but he literally just wants to pick one person. That is a perfect hook. Nice little bubble, but it wasn't to be. They end up trading Janu as well. Decay is still pretty low, but their tank line is in a little bit of ruins right now. As Smurf doesn't have a personal barrier, Rascal just gets a 90-degree turn on there, and Decay ended up taking him down. A nice little resurrection from Ark pretty late also, bringing Janu back into the fray.
Well, that is one small advantage. Now San Francisco will have the resurrection while Washington does not. San Francisco relying just on respawns, and Ons hits that shot.
I thought that was a little bit too aggressive. I was about to call him out for his aggressiveness because I thought the stage was going to add it to him, but he did not. Smurf going pretty low too. This is still very good. Problem is, Arns is still on the high ground and he can just start clicking heads. Decay is fully charged though, with the Graviton Surge coming online rather soon. Twilight does nano Rascal to push him forward, and Arns ends up clicking on Tuba's head. So now it is looking pretty bad for Justice. The Graviton Surge is kind of going to come out. They don't need it because Arns just kills 2. Maybe a 3rd on the exit here as well. No, narrowly misses Stitch's head, but they still manage to get that payload.
It's just a tough spot if you're Washington because you have to go touch the point. Your tanks aren't going to be able to retreat, and you know you're walking into Ans's sightline. So Decay and Janu probably bargaining with themselves, flip a coin who has to go first out here, and they both end up short end of that straw as Ans takes them down immediately. Now, I've always thought that Infrasight can be good with EMP because it allows you to find where those targets are hiding, where those key targets are, and put your Sombra in a key position. The Infrasight will come out right now. No secrets anymore for the Washington Justice.
Yeah, you see Rascal hanging around the streets here. Just wants to wait for them to come out. I mean, he's going to be able to hear them as well if they want to be a bit more defensive and back out, but it doesn't look like they want to do that at all. You can hide in this small health pack room as well. Rascal's still waiting for everybody to enter. There's the Bob who's going to come out, but I don't believe the Bob is actually hacked, so it could work in their favor, although Janu instantly going down is not going to be a good sign. Choi, pretty low too. He gets grabbed on the other side of the wall, so Washington Justice can't really do damage to him now. They finally found him, and he's going pretty low. Breather's going to come out, and luckily a nade landed on him as well. They still managed to take out Smurf, and now Choi in the small room. He managed to push him away. The nano booster gets applied as well, and that's Justice. They're gone. Aim got Decay, end up going down. Perfectly played there by both Choi and Twilight to keep Choi alive, making sure they get the nano boost off, because as soon as you hit that whole hog, well, their back's up against the wall, and that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, super unfortunate that grab put him on the wrong side of the wall. I think even in that case, maybe you just cut your losses and walk away from that, because trying to go toe-to-toe with a hog like that does not work out well when he's got an Ana in his pocket. Washington not even going to recontest Tuba. A little sneaky sneak.
Ideally, you just want to get Twilight here, but as soon as you get the Pulse Bomb killed, you have to just follow it up. Oh, no, okay, he's revealed himself now as Moth does get damaged a little bit. Yeah, they know he's there. Pulse Bomb comes out. Oh, hits the Mercy. Oh, Moth is dead. Perfect. Now, Justice can go on the attack. No, res, because Mercy's dead. If you could res yourself, that would be ridiculous. Arns goes for the short-range shots, but can't quite get it. Oh, dear. Tuba's dicing with death here, but he manages to out-duel Arns and Aim God and Stitch in the front line. Manages to take care of the tanks.
I just want to give Washington a ton of credit for the confidence they had he was going to hit that pulse bomb, because Washington was just giving up ground, a ton of ground. No one was even to be seen around that point because, well, they're also worried about Ans' sightlines and getting hacked as well. So they're just waiting for that perfect pulse bomb to come in. Tuba delivers.
Now what do they have? They have Rascal's EMP coming up. They have Smurf's grab as well with that nano boost. You can just nano Smurf or you can nano Choi. Just a couple of shots will instantly kill anybody in that grab. They also Justice do have a ult of their own. They've got the nano boost and the whole hog again. Twilight is going down to Decay of all people. Decay kills 2? What? 3? Where is Decay getting these kills from? How did he kill Twilight? Well, he must have just been out just around the corner or something, and he just pushed up aggressively, knowing the tanks were trying to push the mega route.
We talked about teams having a finite number of wins. You got to save them. You know, Decay took a couple of weeks off. You know, he was kind of floating in the free agent marker for a while, so he's got to catch up on his wins right now. And
oh no, Decay was just in that room with them, and it looked like Twilight. He was just like right-clicking, and he was fully charged. So it was just a lot of damage.
They didn't even see him. He was hiding behind Hog. Hog playing tank. Who would have thought?
It's true, dude. He is a shield himself. He doesn't need a square. Oh, EMP's going to come out soon, I can imagine. Rascal, whoa, that's big. He does get Graviton Surge, though. And Decay's going to get Nano. This is actually pretty good for the Justice that they can move forward. Arcs pop the wings also, but that whole hog's going to make sure Decay can't get any more damage done. Tuba's still in the back line. All they need to do now is try and either deal with Tuba or just shove out Decay near towards his spawn. And Aid is definitely going to do that. Hook goes a little bit wide and bounces off Decay's shield. But now, Ingon, yeah, he's in trouble. Jana comes back with a little bit of vengeance, though, and takes care of Smurf. But now he's hacked and antied. Stitch is holding down the fort as Art goes for the res on Aim God. And Spawner's advantage now will just aid the Justice going for these trades. These one-for-ones are way better for them. And Stitch just being alive as well and nearing that Bob does mean Shock are going to have to go again.
Well, even if San Francisco finished right now, they'd still be 2 minutes behind. That's how ridiculous the Washington offense ended up being. And San Francisco threw everything that they had at only 50%, even as their highest marker on their ultimates. And, you know, I'm getting kind of tired of saying it. Washington's got Bob ready to go.
Oh, no, Arns. Trying to duck, dive, and dodge. Moth is going pretty low. There's the Bob coming out. You've got to be careful of Moth, though. Oh, instantly. The Bob takes out Rascal, and look at this position he's in too. It does mean that the rest of the Shock are going to have to cower in the Mega Room. Choi Obin does punish Decay for going aggressive though, but Janu does get rezzed. Again, spawners are looking pretty good. Decay's going to come up and he has the grab, and Janu's got the, well, he's got the whole hog. He gets hacked, but Stitch has got the nano. Twilight's dead. Moth is to follow as well. And the DPS from the Justice are going to hold down the fort. Well, 1 minute and 40 seconds now for Shock.
Yeah, Art kept Stitch alive somehow during that. He got whole hogged in the corner. That is instant death. You should be dead right there. But all the resources got pumped into him. This is a cat and a mouse, and they are both blind.
It's like Tuba knew. Oh, he's naded. Oh, and he goes down. Rascal had that health pack actually hacked as well, so there was no hope really for Tuba. Yeah. And Arn switches over to the Ash and manages to pick off Stitch. They managed to get the res, but is it going to be good enough? This EMP was too good. The supports from Justice weren't really there at all. They got Graviton Surge in the Mega Health Pack room. There was no line of sight for Ingot and Arc to fly to him. And now the Shock are pushing on forwards. Smurf's going to get slept, yes, and pulse bombed. but there's still a lot of pressure on the point. Graviton Surge to help deal with Choi, but he's going to be more than safe, taking a breather as well. Decay, he may be half charged, but he's all alone on the point, and Arns is sitting all the way back on another map, just clicking heads. Bob's going to come out, it's going to get hacked, and now the San Francisco Shock, all they need to do is just sit and lie and wait, pick off people one by one. It's up to Super to really do anything on this Widow, and he finds Arns. Can he find anything else though?
Who is this new Tuba player? He's playing heroes we haven't really expected him to play, and he's actually getting stuff done.
And Aimgod comes out and BAP and kills
Getting
Choi.
a couple.
This should be it though.
Right.
Yeah, the Bob was way too much pressure for them, and yeah, Smurf coming back on the Wrecking Ball. That will be it. However,
Yeah,
look at those time banks, Hex. 1 minute versus 5 and 17. If you had this in queue, your mental would be shattered right now. Just, oh my goodness. There's a lot you can get done, to be fair, on King's Row with a minute if you get a good first point, but it's still an upwards hill battle.
Well, this has just been crazy. I mean, like, the games have gone by so fast. I just want to take a minute to reset here. Washington is close to going up 2-0 against San Francisco in halftime here. Like, it's a legitimate possibility. Washington just set the 3rd fastest time on King's Row ever. I mean, okay, let me say the full name. The Washington Justice set the third fastest time on King's Row ever. They were about to go up 2-0 on the San Francisco Shock. I am in shock because I did not expect this result. I expected Washington to take a map and make it look competitive, but San Francisco's been so good throughout the franchise's existence at figuring out what the other team does and taking it away from them. So far, they haven't been able to take away Decay or Stitch, and Tuba is probably playing the game of his life right now. He's been good, he's been serviceable, but apart from Genji, we have questions. He's looked great.
Okay, what have they got? What have they got? Shock are on the offense. They got a minute. Justice, hey, running same old, same old. I mean, you might as well. It's been working thus far. Answer's not starting on the Widowmaker this time around. He's actually just going to go straight to the Ash. Sees it a little bit more valuable. Exchange headshots. A couple more there as well as Janu took a little bit too much damage. Had to back off. Rascal's positioning, Hex. Yeah, okay, so Rascal goes for this hack on Aimgod. Can they actually follow up anything? I'm not sure they can. And Stitch is in a very good space, actually getting damage boosted too. He needs to be able to kill Smurf. Moth. They get Moth and Arns too. Decay again! There is nothing this man cannot do. Joy Open kills 2, but is it really enough? Arc goes down, but Tuba and Stitch alive. Pulse Bomb coming up for him soon. Tuba luckily had the recall available and scurries back to a miniature health pack. Stitch eventually goes down as Choi goes whole hog, kills 3 people. Not quite with the whole hog, but you know what I mean. Kills 3, and they managed to cap the first point as well.
We'll see if Tuba gets spawns here on time. Does get back to his team. Not the biggest deal because it's a Tracer, but you know, the last spawn is terrible. So it's nice to be able to fight around the bend here. Now overtime, single fight situation for Washington. I would imagine they're going to open up with Bob, just because that's what they've been doing. Open up. Oh, never mind. Bob's in the bed.
Oh, and Arns gets hooked. Oh, they trade, but they can't actually res unless they go for something really aggressive. A pulse from Tuba does end up missing, and Moth is now in trouble. Tuba burns the recall early, but it's still on Twilight. He gets taken out by Stitch. A bomb is going to come in. The EMP is pretty good, and Decay ends up going down as Choi marches aggressively forward, but Stitch is still alive, with Bob on the payload just contesting. Moth and Twilight are able to keep this map alive as OT is ticking down. Choi Open ends up falling too as Aimgod also sleeps, but right now the Justice are in a good situation. They've still got the nano boost at hand, but with Stitch falling and spawn advantage in the Shock's favor and Arns just doing what Arns does best, they're going to be able to push forward for the time being, but Justice at least are going to get one more attempt at a recontest.
I would have liked Washington to find the gear to go after the supports who were just babysitting the cart. They got kind of lost the narrative there, and they ended up chasing around a Roadhog. When they had the Bob on the cart and it was just 2 supports for San Francisco on the cart, I think Washington could have pushed that advantage, but let bygones be bygones. Washington does have both support ultimates now, and Grab coming up.
That's a very early Bob, and Janu couldn't take a breather as he was in the hook animation. Just Bob ends up just falling over there. He actually goes down the pit. Decay's making sure he doesn't get hacked, just checking each which way direction, and Janu ends up getting rezzed. That Decay nano was actually perfect. It created so much space. A Graviton Surge on payload will end up killing Smurf. Moth is going to have a hard time doing anything now as he's dragged back in. Stitches finds 2 as well. That's OT. It's ticked down. Shock are going to get held just before the second point. And now the Justice have a very clear win condition with 5 minutes and 17 seconds in their time bank, Hex.
5:17 is a ridiculous amount of time, but San Francisco has been known to turn on the gas. In this case, turn on the brakes on the Washington Justice, buckle down in the defense. But given how the first halves went, I wonder if San Francisco is going to be able to do it. Again, number 12 seed, Washington Justice, has had to play every day just to get here out of knockout rounds. And they're giving San Francisco Shock the 2 seed, could be the de facto 1 seed if it weren't for the early season flubs from the Shock. Everything they can handle. And, I mean, look, even if this goes all the way south, Washington is going to be a dangerous team in the lower bracket. Like, I cannot believe what I'm seeing. I thought the Shock's success was given against their opponents so far, but I guess they have just cracked it. And speaking of cracked, Decay and Stitch, it's their show right now.
It really has been. I don't think we've ever seen a Stitch like this before. This Justice squad looking
He's
so
going toe-to-toe
good.
with Ons. Like, it's
which is ridiculous,
yeah,
to say the least.
And I love the Tracer pick, I really do, because I think Tuba's confidence in his Sombra is not ultra high, but the Tracer pick is putting so much pressure on Moth and Twilight, especially when they have to try to go for resurrections. And without a Diva, you can't cover the reses as effectively, so that makes the Tracer pick even that much better. That can't happen.
Arc
That
just dies to
cannot happen.
dynamite? Okay, I don't know where AimGod was looking there, but well, that's a go again. Unfortunate.
Yeah, now they only have 5 minutes left.
Oh no. Only 5 minutes. We say that, but it's happened before.
Yes, it has.
Okay, well, there you go. Huge pick. Resurrection's coming through. Oh, and Moth goes down. He does get the res, but it doesn't matter because Stitch just exists. Stitch's existence is enough. Dynamite's thrown in. Smurf is purple. He's got the self-bubble, but Choi is dead, and that will be first point, sir. 4 minutes and 30 seconds going through Street Page. And Hex, really all that they need, and they will be able to build it up in 4 minutes, is the Grav, is the Whole Hog, is the Nano, Pulse Bomb, and Bomb. They just need the 6 ults, or 5, I just named 5, the Valkyrie 2. Yeah, and they just need those.
I'll tell you another benefit of running the Tracer, because everyone knows I'm a Tracer fanboy, always have been, going on 5 years now. I'm proud of it.
True.
Taking, being on the angles where Rascal wants to be and trying to get these hacks and being able to like interrupt some of this stuff and putting pressure on Rascal. Like Tracer should always win those duels if she gets hacked. Unreal.
It's a showreel right now. Moth does get jumped on by Tuba, but he is okay. There's the bomb, but there's the nade from Twilight. That's 3 people, in fact. Janu, AimGod, and Decay take a sit down. But, I mean, this is actually good for Justice, to be fair. They did end up expending Nano and Bob, but they're pretty easy things to actually build up. And Shock ended up using a Bob of their own and that Whole Hog. So it's not the worst thing in the world with 3.5 minutes left.
No, it definitely could be worse. Now, I say all that about Tracer, but if Tracer gets hacked against Sombra, that feels real bad.
You're dead. You're going to almost instantly die. Oh, Rascal's trying to go for something. Oh, yeah, he revealed himself. He couldn't quite get the angle. I did see a sleep dart there. Not really avoided, but I mean now, realistically, Hex, 1-point territory. Good hook onto Choi. Stitch is on the flank as well, with Tuba, mind you. However, Choi is going to get nanoed and insta-kills Janu. Nano Hog in this current match, patch and meta is absolutely disgusting amount of damage.
Well, Ons heard us talking so much about Stitch, he decides to turn it on the cleanup here. And what was once 5 minutes is now nearing 2.5. San Francisco has replenished ultimates as well, have EMP and Grab, which is a fight-winning combo if ever there was one. A Grab on the other side of Decay. This one might come down to value and follow-up. No great follow-up from either side in the form of ultimates. We'll see. Decay versus Smurf here is, I think, going to be the decider. Unless Rascal just ruins it first.
There's the EMP. Oh, EMP and Grab. And they grab as well? Oh, Justice. Oh, no. That was the one big tool they really had. And, well, they got grabbed. And then they were like, okay, we counter-grab. But didn't really anticipate this EMP coming out too. And those big ults that I was talking about, Hex, just saving for 5 or 6. That's not looked hopeful for them right now. At least they got EMP out of Rascal. That's a big benefit to them.
Well, they still have 2 minutes. It was a grab, then a counter grab, and then it's like, oh, EMP. That obviously will tip the tables. Huge hook.
What? They did not expect a very quick wraparound there from Justice. Smurf and Rascal instantly dead already and make that 3 as well. And Choi ends up falling. I think this is it, actually. Tuba ends up going down, and Moth is available and live and well. Janu gets slept, but are they going to be able to finish him off? He's getting pocket pocketed by Ark and pocketed by Decay as well. There's the whole hot, takes care of Bob, and a resurrection onto Tuber as well. And the San Francisco shot are actually split Hex. The Justice are still moving the payload. They managed to get Nano off, but it's on Arndt, and he's in no position and no real place to actually do anything. They're trapped in the London Underground, Hex. They forgot their Oyster card. They can't get out. The payload's going to touch the golden box of victory, or orange box in this case. Choi's going pretty low. He gets anti-dated in the front. Twilight's going to have to perform a miracle, but it's not going to happen. The Justice are 2-0 up against the Shock now.
Oh boy. If I was San Francisco and I watched what Washington was doing, the last thing I would try to do is mirror them, because Washington has had practice in game times running this specific composition. And you would think, though, San Francisco's got all the talent. All we ever talk about with San Francisco is how it's unfair that they're starting 6 and the guys on the bench could probably just put together their own team as well. But right now, Washington has the style figured out. They've got the superior Zarya play. You know, the MVP who won your Zarya MVP last year, well, he ain't around anymore, San Francisco. Nothing really against San Francisco's tank lines, but you can't rely on your Zarya to carry anymore. Decay has been on the Zarya carry. Stitch stood toe-to-toe with Ons. Tuba's been a surprise. The supports are good. Like, I am just stunned by the performance Washington's putting on, and now they're a single map away from knocking San Francisco to the lower bracket? What?
What world are we living in?
It's 2020, man. 2020 just gets weirder and weirder. That's all I know.
It gets pretty wild, and this is another weird dimension that we've currently entered, where the Justice pick up Decay, and now the Shock are losing to them, getting knocked down. If any of the brackets were actually still alive, there was no way, if Washington Justice win this series, there is no way any would have been alive right now. I'm just calling it. There are 0 perfect predictions currently. No matter what companion stream you're on, there are 0 perfect preds.
Yeah, I'm glad that I didn't even fill out a bracket, because at this point I would just be super doubting my mental in so many different ways right now anyway. Like, hey, don't you do this game for a living? Shouldn't you know what's going to happen? Like, no, apparently not. Apparently, but this is why we love sports and esports and competition. You couldn't write this without getting thrown out of a Hollywood writer's room. You couldn't write it. They're like, that's unbelievable. But that's why this stuff is so great, because you get to be surprised all the time.
Well, the Battle of Thermopylae, I messed that one up. Thermopylae, the Battle of Thermopylae will continue after this break. We're going to jump to the Watchpoint desk. We'll see you in a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury with HyperX Fury Memory. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to Game Break, presented by Cheese It Grooves. And, well, I have to say, that was quite the performance from Justice. At first, it looked like maybe that composition that they've been running for the last, yesterday and the day before that was going to get found out, obviously, Decay being a one-trick. But it turned out that wasn't the case on Oasis.
Yeah, we sort of saw the compositional matchups happen on Oasis of, we know what the Washington Justice is going to come in and play. They're going to play Decay on the Xayah, Johnny's going to play the Roadhog, and they're going to play this very death ball damage heavy style. The San Francisco Shock came in and played the Reaper dive that we've seen a lot of lately. I was really curious to see how these two compositions would match up, and you could see the win condition from the Shock very early on. They need to play aggressive, they need to close the distance on the Justice backline. But you saw great adaptation coming from the Washington Justice, playing a slower style, making sure that they could keep Aim God alive, and then it all sort of came together. The Shock were really struggling to string anything together and get effectiveness out of their ultimates.
And we are going to go straight to King's Row almost as speedily as Justice took it the first time for Crunch Time, presented by Cheese It Grooves. That was quite something, Reinforce.
Yeah.
Third fastest King's Row attack. 23-0.
Am I dreaming?
Washington against San Francisco. Hello? Like, what dimension are we playing in here for the playoffs? It's like we've just shifted some, like, the 7D Overwatch gameplay. I don't understand what's happening. This is just unprecedented. It's truly amazing to just see the Washington Justice come alive like this. And I mentioned yesterday on the post show that there is a real danger when you're waiting for your match deep in the playoffs, that some of these earlier teams, they catch a momentum, they feel good about the rhythm, they know what composition they're going to play, and they get comfortable. And meanwhile, I mean, you're cold, you haven't had any chance to play your matches yourself, so you come in, the San Francisco Shock, into this match thinking, hey, we got a game plan, we practice for this, and you come in, and the Washington Justice, I mean, they just surprise you with the level of momentum they're bringing to the match. They play such a high tempo. There's so many things to take care of. I mean, you have Decay on the Zarya, you have Stitch on the Ashe, Tube on this Tracer flanking around, being a nuisance, and Aim God even sleep darting people out of the EMPs. So I don't think that San Francisco Shock were quite prepared for this momentum the Washington Justice brought with them, being on a 2-match win streak in the play-ins.
I'm really surprised that this is what the San Francisco Shock are bringing out after picking them yesterday. When Super came out and decided to pick the Justice, I thought it was a bold strategy because of how strong the Justice have looked, and no one's really found a counter to it. So I expected them to come in with confidence against what the Justice were playing, having the answer to it. Going into King's Row, they just tried to mirror the Justice, try and beat them at someone who seems like the best at what they're doing. Very confident and probably misguided, we would say at this point. So for the Shock, I really want to see some adjustments, because I think if they just keep coming in trying to stick with the same game plan, they're going to lose out, because the Justice look the best right now in this meta.
Yeah, I don't understand why they kept Arns on that Widow until basically it was too late. Moves on to the Ashe, but when you're just comparing Ans and Stitch could just get it done, and Ans seems to need the support of his team around him. But we're going to see much more from Ans after the break, because he's not being subbed out. So Rascal is instead for Striker, and Twilight's being subbed out for Violet.
Yeah, the context leading into this matchup, of course, is that Ans, I mean, has been a top 3 hit scan player in North America. So you would expect Ans to actually win that duel. But I agree with you, Frankie, that Stitch has predominantly been the winner in that Ashe head-to-head matchup so far, and it doesn't bode well for the San Francisco Shock. Obviously, as you mentioned, they brought in some substitutions now. Striker is going to come in for the San Francisco Shock, as well as Violet. Maybe be able to change things up here a little bit. I think the San Francisco Shock, they need to slow things down a little bit and just think of a great game plan going up against the Washington Justice. We know that the Shock, they like to play with aggression, they like to bring speed into it all and play a bit like free-flowing, you know, not treated like ranked, but, you know, they like being proactive individually and do their own kind of thing, and it all blends together in a beautiful mix. Maybe take a step back, reconsider, take a deep breath and really just breathe out and get into this game well prepared with a good game plan and slow things down. And I think the Shock might be able to reverse sweep this.
And if Shock look at separating Decay from the team, because Decay is someone who likes to get all the kills. He likes to sit on the point and he likes to just whip his laser around. And if they can just separate him, I wonder if they can reverse sweep this series. And we're going to find out very soon, because Volskaya is coming up next with Jaws and Hex.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury with HyperX Fury Memory. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Hello? It's 2020, I've just woken up. I can't wait to see Shock demolish everybody 3-0 in the playoffs. Wait, what's the scoreline? 2-0 to Washington as we head back into map number 3? What is going on, Hex?
There's no escaping that meme, is there? That meme's gonna have the shortest life of any meme ever. It has been already beaten into the ground, but you nailed it there, so I'll give you credit on that one. And it's the most appropriate time to use it, because right now I think we are all just stunned about the results that have happened. I expected Washington to look better, right? To look better. But they beat up on some lower teams. They beat up on Dallas, which was a grudge match. And I kind of hit it a little earlier. This is a grudge match for a couple of the players on the Washington Justice. Former Vancouver Titans, now on the Washington Justice. Vancouver kind of got rocked last year in the finals by many of the members of this current San Francisco Shock team, and they are out for vengeance. Stitch in particular didn't get to play a lot for Washington last year, or for Vancouver last year, has come in on absolute fire. Washington Justice are a single map away from sweeping the San Francisco Shock in the quarterfinals and moving on. And I don't believe I just said that.
Yeah, it could very well happen. We are going to Volskaya Industries, and we do have a couple of subs as well. We've got Striker actually coming back in. Let's talk about that one just a little bit, because we saw Arns on King's Row. He was playing the Widowmaker a little bit, and then he was playing the Ashe, but Stitch was just outdoing him. And we actually saw Tuba on the Tracer instead of the Sombra, which is kind of strange, because I was assuming, especially when we were coming into this meta, that Sombra would be played almost all the time, because you can farm these tanks like so often. Like Hog Zarya, that's pretty easy farm targets. The bubbles can get annoying, yes, but you can farm those so much, like so readily. So I want to see if San Francisco, with the addition of Strike here back in, if they're also going to now match Tuba on the Tracer. Rather than just go for a Sombra themselves. It's been working out, the Sombra, yes, but the way Stitch and Tuba have been able to execute onto Arns and to Moth has just been second to none. They've been doing it just superbly. Tuba finishes up the kills on the Dynamites or the Reds targets, and that's how Justice is winning these duels.
Well, Tracer also represents that much more lethal threat to the backline too, where you can't just like ignore the Sombra doing that damage, right? Like you get hacked and it's fine. She's probably not going to kill you if both the supports are there, but Tracer can. I mean, you can clip through some of that healing there, and also, like you said, like just camping resurrections. So this might end up being a mirror match with a Tracer Ashe, Tracer Widow, depending on what these teams want to run early on. And then also the Tracer enables the dive a lot. Yes, you're not hacking the targets necessarily, but the dive with the Winston has always been a great thing to watch. So San Francisco, we know what they're running. They're out of spawn. Ons is on the Widow, not the Ashe. Striker, who was an MVP candidate in Season 1 on his Tracer. I agree with Josh, not on a whole lot, but on this. Striker is the best Tracer in the world when he is on his point, and that hurts me because I love Sabiobi a lot. Smurf and Shohyobin are going to be running dive tanks, and then Violet on that Zen in the backline. In Washington, it looks like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Might as well. Tua might just be scouting here, or he might stay on the side.
Yeah. I don't know where his Translocator is. I'm assuming it's either back in the spawn or... Oh, no, it's there. So, yeah, it does look like they just kind of want to run with this. So, the exact opposite actually happened there. I was like, oh, can't wait for Striker versus Tuba on the Tracer. It was actually Tuba on the Sombra instead. So, does look like they're just trying to set up. And it's a little bit more tough, especially with these tanks. Obviously, no shield. Well, that's just unfortunate. That's... Now a body block for an attempted res here, or just waiting for Aim God to respawn, but that is just the power of Widow. And Arn's Widow, meant that.
Yeah, I don't think you res it because it puts you in a tough spot, and also the resurrection is something that you want to use. Oh my goodness.
Come on. So,
can't do that.
There's a small interaction there, by the way. When you're getting damage boosted, you have obviously the beautiful aura of the damage boost around you, which can sometimes reveal your location from behind a wall, because that aura is a lot bigger than your actual character model. So Arns was able to line that up like it was nothing.
Well, I mean, it's San Francisco just said play your best heroes. That's a nice kill. It could be resurrected, though.
You see him choke the Dynamite straight away to try and stop and discourage Moth from really doing anything there. Low healing value, by the way, on the Shock side. They have the Zenyatta with Moth on the Mercy, so not a crazy amount of like AoE kind of healing and spread healing like Ana can do. Arns is going to use those sights fairly early. Nice thing about the Widowmaking, kind of sit all the way back here. Tuba ends up going down, however, to Striker on the side, using those sights to good advantage.
Striker assisted into his rewind back up top, has to get back, but Washington's still in a pretty good position here. They've at least got 4 people nearing the point. This should at least open up space for Stitch to get in, because he's really just got to be super careful of the sight lines with Ons. Ons is the superior damage dealer at this range.
Kind of sucks for you though, if you're these two tanks on the point, you take so much damage actually trying to get anything done. You see Striker now has that pulse bomb in hand. Spots out Tuba trying to go for something aggressive. Rewinds the last couple of seconds, and that Discord orb punishing Janu and now punishing Stitch, but Stitch takes out Violet. Discord Orb now removed, and now getting ticks on the point is the name of the game for the Justice. One tick has been acquired. Now San Francisco Shock going to have to do something. Moth, meanwhile, was actually slept in that small engagement too, so they were very unwilling to do anything. Pulse Bomb goes a little bit wide, and yep, 2 ticks have been acquired with the help of Bob. Someone from the Shock has to touch. It's Smurf. He instantly dies. And now Choi's in a lot of trouble as well. Arns might be able to carry this on the Widowmaker, but it's looking rather unlikely as Janu with the whole hog pushes him off the map. And that'll be Justice claiming point A.
Is this just the Washington Bobs or what? It feels like every fight, their initiation is to have the Bob onto the point. This goes back to map 1. Stitch already at 30% again. Washington, I mean, Tuba is playing much more conservatively against San Francisco because last time these two teams met, he got rocked on the Sombra. Every time he showed himself at all, discorded, headshot. It happened time and time again. This time he's just going for harass, which hurts his charge, 86%.
No one can hide
and I think they can just nano decay and hope to get into a Graviton situation. Stitch in trouble, so they have to pull the Mercy back. This should slow down the push, and that should end the push.
Oof, bye-bye. Aim God.
Can they res it?
Yeah, but now Stitch is on low. Yeah, Ark actually popped the Valkyrie for that too, so this is not that great, I can imagine. Unless they get like a miracle pick here. They still want to fight though, as Tuba does have the CMP, but Janu goes way too deep. Tuba's also dead now. And without your main follow-up there, I think Justice were just trying to die ASAP. You can't really get out. You could have definitely just all reset yourself, but they wanted to get a little bit something more. And then hopefully Stitch could have came back, but it wasn't to be, and it's going to be a reset.
So the next little micro battle you want to take a look at is probably Tuba versus Violet. Violet has the only great response to a giant EMP on his team. So if Violet can stay out of the EMP, that is very likely going to be the initiation for Washington Justice. Then San Francisco can fight it back. However, that also requires Choi Hyobin to make sure that he can eat up the anti-heal, which would come into that Transcendence as well. There's a lot of small microtransactions that are going to happen here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's one way to do it. Oh, Arn's taking a little bit too much damage. Just to back off. I really like that podium that Widow can sit on, by the way. Oh, dearie me. If the headshot wasn't going to kill you, Violet definitely was. Those orbs were sent straight towards Stitch's face. Ark trying to glide around the corners to go onto someone using the wings, but he is now dead. Yeah, this looks rather unwinnable. They're still going to invest the grab, though.
Oh, no.
They do, and guess what happens? They transcend it. However, the Justice still have this EMP Hex, but it's going to have to be another reset. There's no way they win this. If they commit anything more, it would definitely be a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, because they got the Transcendence out of it, it's not the worst possible ultimate. However, San Francisco still sitting on their 5 other ultimates. It's also going to make EMP almost impossible to hit, because the moment that they feel the timing is right for Tuba have gotten in to be in a good position, they will probably just hit Infrasight.
Yeah. Oh, he's got a fair bit of charge too. 2 people dragged in. Oh, did you see?
Transcendence just buoys up.
Did you see Violet literally transcend, like, just up onto the grab? It's like he ascended to the heavens there to save his team, and he did just that. But like I said before, they still have that EMP. It comes out, hits Twilight, but he's kept alive. Same with Choi. Choi is hacked, and they managed to find the D-Meg, but the EMP actually wears off, and hey, you can remech. Striker gets a nice pulse bomb onto Aimgod, and that will be it. The push is very much over now for the Justice, as now 1 minute does remain. 3 minutes have been whittled away by the Shock. And they've got not much online for this next fight. They may have this Transcendence, but they're running into a Nano Boost and the Valkyrie from Ark.
This dive defense has just been phenomenal. The moment that anyone steps forward for Washington Justice, San Francisco sends people into the back line to be able to deal with Stitch. The last thing you want is to a long range or a medium range hit scan to be able to sit in that middle ground and start shooting people as the fight goes on in the points. And San Francisco has put so much pressure on Stitch in the back line. Tuba finally changes over to the Tracer himself to try to counteract the opposing Tracer, and also to get to this ledge. You have to be able to get somebody up here to push out the Ana, to push out the Widow.
That was a cute little body block there from Janu, protecting President Aimgod. making sure he doesn't get a headshot on the cross. That's all you can really do as the Hog, to be fair. Nice kill by Stitch, though, onto Striker. Arns, though, setting up a little bit of a nest on the high ground. Name God goes down, the Resurrection comes through, but the Transcendence from Violet is keeping the tanks alive in the back line. He's on the miniature health pack. I managed to steal it away as well. Decay gives a hello and a farewell as he goes back to spawn, and now with 4 seconds remaining, Violet does what Violet does on the Zen. There is no hope for the Justice now. 0 ticks on second point, Hex. Justice, they managed to claim first in moderately decent time, but the Shock, stalwart defense on the second point, and now Shock's turn to attack.
It was a very good first push for Washington, but they ran out of gas there too. I think they stayed on the Sombra a little too long because they had so many pushes halted by early picks because Ons was in the back. But the one way to make Ons uncomfortable is to probably send a Tracer top left. Maybe you can get the Tracer halfway across the bridge and give the Tracer a bubble, give him some help there, but without any dive tanks to really push onto that back line, on that back ledge when you have a Widow there, the Ana's usually there, the Mercy's messing around so that she has upward escapes. It's really hard to be able to pressure out Ons, and it's just a shooting gallery there. Like, control maps, or assault maps, excuse me, are a lot like this, where you have to use ults just to get in, and then you have to use a bunch more just to get where the prime defenders are going to be in that back. Hanamura comes to mind in the same situation, but Ons just never got pressured. Never got pressured, and conversely, Stitch could never get in position to pressure him because it was Striker just constantly in the backline harassing Stitch.
Stitch just not, like you said, being able to really enter the second point was, yeah, very painful for the Justice. And not only that, Shock were playing split too. Don't forget. With the dive tanks, you can do that because you have a lot of mobility. So you can play Spit and then kind of re-engage on a target that is being focused down. Decay had that one good grab, but, you know, Violet just hits the Transcendent.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to get up to Violet and Ons. Like, those have to be your prime targets when you're running a Tracer, but they only run Tracer for 1 life, so.
Oh, nice little force of the recall there. Didn't find anything for her, I don't think so. Ons is very much ready and waiting to get to this high ground, and Shoyobin is going to help him do so. The hook on the cross, and no, it was actually Stitch that went down. Luckily enough, the resurrection came pretty quickly from Arc, so they're back to full fighting force. However, the Shock are just taking this high ground with ease.
Yeah, they're in the perfect spot now for this Widow Mercy combination too, able to use the walls here and able to cover every angle.
I just, dude, this is like, what do you do? Violet is just sitting there next to Arns. Moth is also sitting there next to Arns. They claim some control on the point. At least they get Smurf and Janu fall. And the space that is being created here. Ooh, that nano was pretty good. Stitch takes out Moth. Okay, I may have to just eat my own hurt in just a moment. Maybe not, as Violet takes down Tuba. It's all up to Decay. The Decay show once again, but can he claim any of the prizes? I don't think so. Ends up ending his own life, unfortunately. And Arns kills Aim God off also. And makes short work of Arc. And that was all on the rotation there from Shock, and just, especially on this point, Hex, I want to say out-comping them a little bit. The problem with the Zarya and the Hog, if you want to get on the point to contest, good luck. Because, yeah, you got a lot of brawling potential. You haven't really got much protection. No shields, and only the Zarya bubbles really to do anything.
Ons has actually been hitting a ton of headshots on these tanks, and I think even back to his defense, he was plunking Decay constantly. There's another shot onto Decay. Washington has to hold fully for 5 minutes.
Oh, nice little eat there on Tuba's Pulse Bomb. Can't use that with the Graviton Surge coming up as well. And Arn's playing all alone, mind you, as well. I'm not sure if they got that call out. Well, Tuba is dead now, so he couldn't even go for him if he really wanted to. Stitch is going to fall, Arc to follow. And this is going to be it, actually. Shock are just going to take this point. Pulse Bomb, goodbye. And the Shock, this is what we thought we'd see. Capture point 2, just like that. Shock are back in the series. 2-1 to the Justice, still on match point. But familiar face now for the Shock as they do claim Volskaya Industries.
See, I think I could be a coach in the Overwatch League because when my team started struggling, I would just say, everyone play your best heroes. Just everyone play your best heroes, and we'll see how it goes. Because Hans switches to Widow, he ends up with 40% scoped critical accuracy. 4 out of 10 shots were headshots. A lot of those tanks were plunked down really low. And then Striker is there to clean it all up, too. So the Widow Tracer combination there, then you have Smurf leaping in. Violet's able to get violence on people because Chohyobin happens there with the defense matrix. He picks up some kills, and San Francisco makes very short work of the Washington Justice on Volskaya. This is what we expected. It was San Francisco's map pick, so if Washington has a pocket pick to try to close out the series, that'll be our next map, I'd imagine.
For sure. But Kings Row was their map pick as well. I don't think we can count Washington out of this just yet, and neither can we count out the Shock as well. I'm interested to see where we actually go for this escort next, because I think, Arndt, you're going to be sticking on the Widowmaker. And thankfully, they did at least get one map in the series, and hopefully a couple more as well, because it is Choi's birthday today. So happy birthday to him. Sengil Chugoeo in Korean. Happy birthday. As you can see, probably my favorite picture of Choi with the bunny ears laying on the ground. He does best, play tank and rest, apparently.
His wish was to win Volskaya, so unless there's another birthday on San Francisco, then they're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way this time around.
Perfect. Well, Choi, I hope you have a good birthday, regardless of your win or loss today. Of course, you're not out of this just yet. You got Washington Justice map pick up next. We're going to jump to a quick break, though. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile.
Welcome back. Justice now have their map pick. It is going to be Watchpoint Gibraltar for this next one. And the Shock, they managed to claim a map on Volskaya and did it in, well, Shock fashion. They managed to hold Justice on point B and then just get the 33% on their attack with plenty of time to spare as well.
It's a little bit of an interesting choice, I think, to go to Gibraltar here for the Washington Justice, because Gibraltar is a map that you almost always have to play dive tanks on, and that's not been their forte. They would rather play Roadhog and Zarya, it seems. It's also a map that very much favors Widows, and also San Francisco's pretty good at this map, Jack.
Yeah, they are. Let's have a look at the fastest map times in 2020, presented by Xfinity. Well, look at that. Shock versus Eternal. It was 4 minutes and 30 seconds. That's pretty quick. For Gibraltar too, like that is just mind-boggling.
And that's not even beating up on a bad team. That's the Paris Eternal.
that's Eternal.
They're coming up next, right? Paris has gotten themselves a bye into the quarterfinals as well. So that is Shock just doing, well, the Shock things that we expect them to do. So Washington picks Gibraltar into them. Maybe they have a different concept or style in mind, but given how Ons just went on the Widowmaker, it's an interesting pick. I'm not going to count Washington out. Maybe they have a strategy. So we shall see. They are still one map away from knocking San Francisco into the lower bracket in Overwatch League 2020 playoffs. And I don't care what happens with this match. It's already been a fun one.
Yeah, definitely so. I think Justice can have a... They're going to have a tough time, X. They really are. I mean, you're basically only showing currently the Zarya and the Hog. For the first point, I don't think it's not tragic, because there are very easy ways to actually get to the high ground. For the second point, however,
there's stairs.
yeah, not so much. Like, you're going to be up against Arns on the Widow or what he's showing now, which is the Ashe, but it's so tough. As soon as you hit second stage, Justice is going to have to go very, very fast, either to high ground, or they're just going to have to hope Shock could jump to them and contest payload and then find a miracle pick from Stitch.
Yeah, it's more of a concern on the offense, I think, for the Justice, but I guess you cross that bridge when you get to it and you...
100%.
Yeah, so you worry about that, then maybe they'll switch something up. I think defensively running Zarya Hog is fine because you have the natural high ground here on the defense. The only issue comes in when San Francisco maybe starts taking blue box with their dive tanks, then how do you contest it? But I guess you try to yoink them off, so we'll see how it all plays out. On's on the Ashe and not the Widow, but Striker staying on that Tracer.
Yeah, so we're now seeing the Tracer versus Tracer. Just playing it too. A lot of easier nade spots here. If you're an Ana player, you can just bounce it off the top of that blue box there on the right-hand side. You get a big anti if they're all huddling around that doorway. And the dynamites work just as well, as you saw Arns just chucking a few up, and look at his ult charge. Already up 60% on that Bob versus Stitch's 22. So yeah, not looking so great right now. And now this is where the dive tanks really come into play, because Justice at this point now have to drop onto the payload in order to contest, and the Shock, they're going to be able to protect Arns so easily. It's just shoving Stitch off this blue box, which shouldn't be too hard with both a Winston and a D.Va.
They did a good job of getting some push there with the Tracer on the low line, so that Tuba is just going to go contest it by himself. But so far, Justice holding stout in their positioning, because once they give up high ground, it's, like you mentioned, going to be very difficult for them to reclaim it while walking through server room. But yeah, it's a nice catch on Smurf.
Yeah, it was a hook and a half, actually, onto Smurf. It's always really funny seeing people get hooked into like rooms where you can't see them. It's just the yoink.
Yeah,
the
old vaudeville hook.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, that's nice. Rather thick dynamite though, onto Decay, and he has to play back. Bob's going to come out too, the Transcendence from Shock, keep everybody alive, and that Pulse Bomb being thrown out as well. Not finding Janu, but Twilight definitely did. That hook was good onto the tanks again, but that's really all that they found. A resurrection from Moth as well as he pops the wings. Violet is back up and ready to fight. However, dropping down to the payload isn't really where you want to be, especially against Decay up on the high ground. However, pushing the payload is the main objective of the Shock currently. As you can see, Justice are struggling to actually get back. In fact, they're not even going to get there at all. Look at the ults that they have online as well. They're all stuck in server room, X.
Well, they did just get served, so it's appropriate. They do have to get out. You want to keep Decay with his energy up and all these ults, but that's a mistake that you don't want to have happen. The silver lining is, though, the worst thing for you to happen on the defense is to get rolled on that first point and then give up all of the positioning to the offense. And that's not going to happen to the Justice. They get everybody out alive.
Yeah, this is really nice. Really nice, because now you can use this high ground with Stitch.
Yeah.
Decay sitting here as well can easily apply bubbles to him because it's not of an awkward angle. Decay has the Graviton Surge 2. Pulse Bomb available for Tuba, so they can just throw that in. The Bigger Bang wouldn't be such a bad option.
Just the Big Bang. Bigger Bang's D.Va.
Big Bang is D.Va, yeah,
I
you
made
are
up some
correct. Whoops, Daisy. Well, not anymore, because Tuba threw that straight into Choice Matrix. Graviton Surge on the front, though. Decay playing really aggressive. Feels like he really has to try and bring the fight to the Shock. Self-destruct gets launched out. Tuba goes down to Violet, and Decay still trying to fight. Getting a little bit more charge on his next grab. He has almost 100 energy, but San Francisco Shock taking out Tuba as well is perfectly fine for them. Like, Arns is now able to set up basically for free as he kills Stitch off. The Resurrection is here, but like I mentioned before, Hex, with these dive tanks, the high ground is almost shocks entirely for this, unless
I like that
they push Janu up.
Striker's just playing the points this entire time. While the fights are going on, they're getting progress, and that's kind of what got them very first point too, is all this sneaky progress. They're just kind of threading in.
Yeah, that's it. Well, yeah, exactly that. Look at Smurf. He's sitting on point. Oh dear, that's not where you want to be, Arns. Fortunately got naded there by Aim God, and Decay jumped on him. A good Transcendence here from the San Francisco Shock. It might not matter, because if they kill Decay, he's not going to be able to get grabbed. Choi's going to find the kill on him, as well as Arns killing off Aim God. So now, the Justice really can't go for this big recontest. There's so much point pressure with this Valkyrie from Moth 2. There is no way they hold on to this. A pulse bomb onto the Roadhog. Janu bites the dust, and that will be the Shock capping this next point. And the Transcendence was good. Normally you'd say, wow, that was Transcendence when Decay almost has grab. No, because if you win the fight there, you get point priority, and you also force Justice all the way back. So Violet might be able to build up to another Transcendence. It is Violet, after all, on the Zenyatta. Decay is only 25% away, though. They're going to have to go really quickly if they want to be able to catch them off guard.
I want to see more from Tuba, but I understand how difficult it is against a team like San Francisco that prioritizes healing Violet. But so far, Tuba has 0 final blows and 3 deaths. That is not the stat line you want in Tracer, especially when there's tanks diving in and you're expected to go pressure the tank line, or the back line when the tanks dive in.
Well, look at this. Janu is just trying to pressure the back line of the Shock, but there's just so much pressure that it's almost impossible to do so. Decay goes down, Janu fell, Aim God also dead. At least Arns dies, but Moth has the Resurrection. He brings him back to life. The Bob's going to come out, but the self-destruct actually launches him away, and Stitch's Bob just instantly dies. This is Shock now, not quite setting a record, Hex, but making good time. The Bob comes out from Arns, and that puts a lot of pressure now onto Tuba, who can't really do much. Decay eventually lets loose his Graviton Surge, but like I mentioned before, Violet had enough time to build up a Transcendence, and they're going to be more than okay sitting on this point. Arns is now just sitting in training range, just clicking on head after head after head, and this should just be it. The Hog comes out, but the Primal Rage is good enough to bat him away, and the Shock now, with 2 minutes and 38 seconds at the time bank, they're going to complete Watchpoint Gibraltar, and the Justice didn't really have a fight at all. It was just a complete roll. I mean, it of course wasn't the fastest time in the world, as like we saw before, but this is still not really Justice getting an ear in anywhere.
You look at some of the small stuff that goes unnoticed because it doesn't show up in the kill feed, but I really like the Striker just pushing through car wash, right?
Yeah.
Just to always push it all the way through, and then at some point it was like 10 meters past, the team is bisected, and they're cut off in the server room, so San Francisco's like, oh yeah, objective-based game, leave them, I don't care, let's take this cart. And then San Francisco has just always had the high ground advantage, because even with the small mobility that Washington has in their heroes, you'd get Ashe up top, but then what kind of support is with Ashe? It's just Ashe and Mercy, fine, just send both tanks in at it, no problem. Striker was all over the place, but even Striker, when fights were going on in second point, you think maybe you want your Tracer in there. He's like, nah, I'll just push the cart. And by the time Washington was ready to fight on the cart, it was too late every single time. So yeah, just Washington just absolutely rolled over. And, you know, like Tuba had played really well, but it's insanely difficult to kill Violet in San Francisco. If you watch their tape ever, the moment he takes a single shot, Moth is pocketing him, and then whoever's trying to shoot at him gets discorded and just rocked because he's Violet.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Hex, this map was the choice of the Washington Justice.
Yes, it was.
And we saw, of course, that San Francisco Shock has set the fastest time on this map in the 2020 season. And their dive has been looking rather clean. And Gibraltar, just know one thing, that is the dive at tanks. Regardless of metas, it's always been kind of the favorites. That hook would have been so sick, actually, if that hit Moth. But yeah, no. Nothing really happened there. And now it is Tuba doing Striker's duty, as now he just sits on the payload through car wash.
Well, I mean, you can get tanks up to where the San Francisco tanks are holding. There's a couple of jumps you can do, but obviously you're jumping up and just getting rocked during that time. So San Francisco's still going to always have this high ground advantage. And once the cart turns the corner, Washington's going to have to step into the horseshoe of pain here because they've got every angle covered. That's a great kill.
That is a great kill, and they're guarding the body as well. You see instantly Tuba just dashed over to where that forklift is to make sure they couldn't go for that res. Yeah, Choi and Moth are being pressured out, and in fact, Decay just being on the high ground, just existing there, forces Choi and Moth back all the way, and then he just beams them both down. Decay just solo carrying that first point. A little time in the bank, but I mean, the Shock now have a perfect position to take this high ground. They all get forward spawns, I believe. Maybe one or two didn't. Strike is definitely not going to get forward spawn, but the tanks are going to be up there, and it's going to be up to Stitch to try and dislodge them. But with Arns firing at him as well, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, the amount of times Decay gets 3 eliminations in a row is just staggering, and it's been happening since Thursday afternoon. It just seems like since Thursday afternoon, Decay has had 90+ charge. I feel comfortable making that statement. It doesn't decay on him, apparently.
Apparently not. That was a nasty hook by Janu. That hook looked like spaghetti. It was like weaving around the ship. And there's no resurrection really possible here either because Janu's just sitting on him. Another nice little hook there on Chichoy. He's going low, hoping for the Primal Rage, but doesn't quite get it. Well, Xi said dives good on this next point, and well, Justice, they land one nice little hook, and they've completed it already.
This was the most important point for
minutes
them.
now on third.
Yeah, second was the most important point because now you can definitely run a Zarya Roadhog on last point because this last point, if you remember, like you used to be able to run Reinhardt Zarya on this last point. Because it's all about this corner, right where Roadhog is right now. That's the corner you generally want to fight around, offense and defense-wise, and you don't really need to dive. Yeah, there's a high ground bridge, but I mean, it's mostly going to be a battle between the Ashes there. Washington is setting a blazing pace, over 5 minutes, Jack.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. They could set a record, I'm just saying. They could be in that top 5. They put pedal to the metal.
You jinxed them.
No. That's not what happened. Not what happened.
Not yet, no.
Not yet.
They take corners.
Bob goes down, and now they've taken the corner. And it's all about setting Stitch up here. Oh, got Goomba stomped by Smurf, just bounced off his head. And on to the next target. Janu also ends up falling down. There will be a Graviton Surge sent out by Decay. I'm really not sure about that one. They do end up killing Choi at least, and Decay really think he can carry. Tube is still alive, mind you, as well. Maybe I spoke too soon. A push forward. Janu and Smurf do get rezzed. And Striker now having a 1v1 with Tuba. Doesn't have the false bomb advantage, but that's really about it. Another nasty hook by Janu there. He manages to fire the stick on him, but a Transcendence is going to save Aim God's life. Not quite so lucky onto Janu, though, and no resurrection available, as it was used not 15 seconds ago. A retreat here from the Justice. They have 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining.
Well, I'm really having a hard time judging Decay's Gravitons because some of them look terrible and they turn out okay, some of them look terrible, are terrible, and some of them are some of the best Gravs you've ever seen. So I will reserve judgment until about a month from now on whether Decay's Graviton use is correct or not. In this case, they do not end up getting the points, but it wasn't the worst Grav in the world. But now Washington's bank is nearly empty. Valkyrie can come in, but that is about it for them. Meanwhile, Violet's still holding on to Transcendence, so a Grav would have been negated by Transcendence anyway. This is where you want to be as Zen. Sitting back, Mercy in the pocket.
Really gets some Transcendence here forwards. Janu's being punished for his sins walking forward, but yeah, he's getting pocketed by almost everybody now. Violet's having the time of his life shooting a hog, but not quite so lucky are Smurf and Striker. Now Decay chasing people into their spawn. A great time back maybe for the Justice here as Joyans are going down as well. Self-destruct gets launched in. Unfortunately, can't get the remake. Bob's going to come out, smack on the back of that rocket, and that will be it. 2 minutes and 42 seconds versus the 2 minutes. The Justice, regardless of what we talked about before, with Dive being good on the second point, they prove us completely wrong. I mean, it was really all on Janu, let's be real with ourselves. Like, his hooks, especially on the last 2 stages here, have just been spectacular. Just taking out Arns, and of course, when the hooked person dies, their body is right next to the hog, so there is almost no way you're going to be able to get that hog off of that position, so you can't go for the res.
Who needs high ground if you can just drag someone down to low ground with you, right? That's my strategy whenever I'm in an argument with somebody. I'm like, I'm not taking the high ground. I'm going to make you sink to my level down here. I also think they reprioritize targets really well, too, because if you notice, the only person really killing Violet was Decay. Because Violet gets these perma pockets and because Violet can hit headshots on the Tracer, Decay was all over Violet all game, pressuring him down, just walking bubble into him. And yeah, they were able to absolutely crush. I think at the end of this clip, he walks doorway and ends up killing Violet. Meanwhile, that means that Tuba can stay alive, and Tuba can put on pressure everywhere else. He can camp bodies, he can put pressure on Hans. So they acquiesce. They said, like, look, our Tracer has to be pixel perfect at a full clip to kill their Zenyatta, and it's just not working out. So, hey, Decay, you're on Zenyatta duty, push forward through him, and he takes him out several times. I think that was an enormous difference. If you notice, Tuba wasn't dying as much, and he was getting a lot more done just utility-wise.
Your turn to kill the Zen, please. I
Yeah,
can't
please.
quite do it.
No, sometimes you have to just say, like, guys, I can't do it. I need help, right? There's nothing wrong with saying you need help.
That's true. Very true. Good life advice there. That's what we do on the Overwatch League stream. Give good life advice too.
I try to thread in some PSAs here and there.
That's a nice little kill onto Striker there by Aim God. Damn, that's reservoir. And now it's going to be up to, again, it's this war between Arns and Stitch. And it's just forcing Stitch off of this blue box, which is incredibly difficult, especially when you have Janu and Decay in this position as well, where if they want to go for the dive, Decay can either bubble Stitch or just help Janu just get the damage done and hook someone in.
Well, even diving in, you might just get yoinked out of the air.
Exactly. It's a big diamond eye, though. I mean, now you're up to Bob. You might want to send Bob to point. Striker and Janu end up trading. Is there any resurrections coming through? I don't think there is. Doesn't look like either Mercy is in position to do so, but they burn a fair bit of time off the time bank, Hex. Already down to sub 1 minute now.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Washington just has to be very careful of not getting stuck in the server room. Both support ultimates are going to be up for both squads. Moth might just preemptively do this around 30 seconds. Yes, Valkyrie out for Moth.
Oh no, Violet is in trouble. Striker ends up killing off Aim God, and actually Violet used the Transcendence. He was a little bit too scared of Tuba there, but also forcing the momentum. And that's exactly what they did do. Striker marching forwards. He has that damage boost, mind you, with Moth popping the Valkyrie. Just easy lot of healing or just whack on the damage boost for everybody, and no one's going to survive that. They do get the resurrection onto Stitch, who's going to be able to stall, I can imagine, but it looks rather unlikely at this point. They're waiting for the Tracer 2. Tuba has the pulse bomb. They don't need to touch.
Yeah, you're right. It's unnecessary. They would have had to transcend to zoom Yada in there or send their Tracer on a sacrificial mission. They choose not to do either. In overtime, Washington still has a single fight left to go. Grab, pulse bomb, Bob, everything ready for Washington.
Okay, they're going to try and force out some cooldowns with the Bob. Oh, Mott's in a dangerous position. Luckily enough, Smurf's there as well to take a couple of shots, but Choi's lost his mech already. OT is still ticking down with the Dynamite on the point now. Choi's in a lot of trouble, and a Transcendence for Aim God 2. Straight on top of Decay's grab. You'd think that's an enemy grab. Oh no, it's not. He's just there to actually stall. OT is ticking down, and that's the kill feed. Just lighting up with a lot of orange bodies. The Shock have been halted just before, well, just after this first point. And Justice, they could very well take down the Shock here.
Yeah.
They have 2 minutes and 40 seconds-ish, 2 minutes 42 to get through this first stage, and then just a little bit more. So they don't even have to do what they did on the second point before, which was basically rely on Janu finding a hook. They just need to actually cap the point and then just fight on it.
It's been great.
It hasn't got far to move.
It's been great to watch this Washington team grow over just even the last month or so, because I feel like a month or so ago, even with this new roster, they would have pushed the point there at the end and like tried to burn stuff, because a lot of times they just don't have faith that their team's going to win fights. Like, someone's got to do it. I'm going to go carry. I'm going to do it. And it just seems like there's more trust involved, bringing Decay in and knowing you can just rely on this. The calls look better, communication. I mean, it's always guesswork on my end when I see these things, but Washington did not used to play with any sort of confidence and patience, really. It used to be like one guy's going to have to carry. We used to talk about Washington. Remember, I used to say, like, Washington could win games if more than one person has a good game at once. Like, if 5 people on the team have above average games, they can win. Because it used to be, like, one guy would try to carry the squad. And it looks like finally Washington's hit that point where everybody on the team is having above average games, and they're about to take it to the San Francisco Shock if they can just get it a little past first point on Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Shock are like, well, if you can do it, we can maybe do it better. They're running the Hog and the Zarya as well now. That was a very sneaky move by Choi, hiding around that corner. They weren't expecting that one at all. Janu ends up going down. Short spawn though, so it's alright.
Yeah, totally fine. Surprised they're not taking just the little free push here. Yeah, there they go.
Yeah, there you go. Oh. Stitch takes a Dynamite to the head. Yeah, to pick up the health pack's kind of smart there. You don't give any extra ult charge over to him because the health pack heals everything.
Puts out the fire.
Cures all wounds. Yeah, puts out the fire.
Don't jump into the water in Gibraltar. That one doesn't. Well, technically it puts out the fire.
Technically, yeah, because you just die. Sad to say, but there it is. That's the truth. What else can we say, huh? Tuba's still pushing that payload, and now the the grand journey here for the Justice. Up onto the high ground. Oh, they spot Choi. Yeah, you can't hide for that long, Choi, unfortunately. He's used his breather already, and actually the ally bubble's gone down as well. It's going to be up to Smurf to try and peel for him. Choi is still playing around this high ground, but they know exactly where he is. Full HP, yes, and going for a flank on the payload might be the game plan. Janu has spotted him out, though. Send those scrap gun shots are flying. Decay ends up falling, however, to Smurf, who is still hanging around this high ground. Not for long, though, as a Stitch just double hits him.
Arc looked like he was in position to res it and then got stopped somehow. I'd have to go back. I didn't see exactly, but it looked like the animation for the res was going off and then it just stopped.
Oh, what is this push from Choi? I mean, now Janu's actually dead. The Discord Orb and the Tracer is enough damage to actually deal with him. Gotta be a little bit careful there. And Striker hanging around the server room. He's got Pulse Bomb in hand as well. Obviously that damage boost failed. Now Stitch is in trouble. Pulse Bomb goes a little bit wide as he uses the Coach Gun to get out of the way. Now the Pocket has arrived. Art can't quite keep him alive. There was Violet was there to apply the Discord and a few extra bullets as well. Stitch and Gotuba are dead. 45 seconds now for the Justice as the Shock want to take this to a map 5. They've still got a lot in their bank though. However, they are going up against a full bank from Shock 2. Janu has Whole Hog. They're going to have, well, he's going to have Whole Hog. The Transcendence coming. This is down to the wire. They need to just be able to kill and just isolate Smurf. This Raptor Surge could be deadly.
Valkyrie was forced. I mean, it's nice for Washington that they're going to have the Transcendence for the Valkyrie. They need to buy enough time to get these damage ultimates up and then have a play be made. Tuba's got to hit a Pulse Bomb. Stitch has to get some good Bob value, some sort of knockoff, but Washington has the tools. San Francisco has better ones. Can Washington clutch this?
Well, the Graviton Surge is going to come out, but only gets one, and it gets Aingot, and the Transcendence is going to save him, but oh, it was all for nothing. Decay and Tuber end up going down in a blink of an eye. The Graviton Surge looked like it whiffed, but apparently not. The Shock didn't need it anyway. There you go. They hold them just before that first point, and the Shock are taking this the distance. We're going to map number 5.
That's actually a perfect Graviton, in my opinion. I don't know if it was planned. I don't know if it was whiffed, but you take the Zenyatta out of the mix, right? Just take him out of the mix. You're tracking ultimates. You know that Transcendence is probably up, so let's just put him over here. Everyone else is over there. No heals. The healing output is much lower now without Transcendence. He can't save you from a grab because he's locked up in it, and then they just collapse on them in the server room again. So maybe it was planned, maybe it wasn't, but the results are just fine for the San Francisco Shock to isolate the Zen, making sure that, like, Transcendence. If you want to go get heals, go ahead and jump up with Zen in the Transcendence. You can't. You're not dive tanks, so all comes down to this next map. Washington Justice, San Francisco Shock, 2-2. We're going back to control. I don't know what map it is. I don't know what year it is. What is happening? But this has been one crazy set to watch.
Reverse sweep. It's on the table for the Shot. They've taken the last 2 maps, and those maps have been, well, Justice picking them too, right? I mean, that's kind of insane. Watchpoint Gibraltar, we had a couple of questions about it. Shock then mirrored them at the very end on Justice's push. So I don't know what is happening, man. This is kind of insane. However, if Justice repeat the same performance they did on Oasis at the very start of the series, we could still very much see Washington Justice come out ahead. We're going to jump to a quick break, though. We're going to see what map it is after this. We'll see in a bit.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
just gotta keep moving forward. Had enough?
Chaos. We must see this through to the end.
Hello, welcome back. This is Shock versus the Justice, and we're going into map number 5 now. Hex, the reverse sweep could be here. However, the Justice did end up winning control in the start of the series. A brand new look for them, honestly. They 3-0'd Dallas Fuel yesterday, and going this far against the Shock, that's no easy feat, and it really has been all about Stitch and Decay. I mean, Tuba definitely been in there as well, but Stitch 1v1ing Arns, well, 2v1ing, 2v2ing even, sorry, with the Mercy Pocket. But still, you know, in that duel is winning out some of the time, and we've got Decay on fire on the Xayah.
Yeah, absolutely. Washington has looked really good. So San Francisco has to dig deep into their depth. If only they had a World Cup winner, a May Melee winner, I mean, a Roll Star. If they had one of those players on tank. Super's coming in for Lijiang Tower.
There he is.
He is all those things and more. Cashew Delisi is going to come in. So you have to assume Reinhardt's, right? And it can be very good on Lijiang Tower. Night Market, especially if you think about it. Ryan Zarya, you lock down that door, you kind of sit there and you swing away. We shall see. But it is map number 5. Super is coming in for Smurf.
Secret weapon.
Yeah.
Or is Super's Hog nasty?
Yeah, I mean, I watched a little bit of his stream, and he dies a lot on Hog, but who doesn't? Who knows? But yeah, well, look, I never want to compare Ladder to Overwatch League. It's completely different. Like, you don't know where your heals are coming from. You're not in comms. He's just memeing on stream and talking about weird stuff. So, completely different experience. We shall see what Super wants to play here as we go to Lijiang Tower. But I know, like, you definitely can still run Ryan on Night Market. That's viable-ish.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to what stage gets played first again. I think that's almost the crux for a lot of teams, I think, and a lot of play styles for a lot of teams. It's like, okay, so we're rolling the dice, this 3-sided dice on Control. Which map do we get first? Because it can sometimes decide how the pacing goes. Yeah. Of course, this is how we got here. Oasis, Justice came out of the gate swinging 2-1 on it. King's Row as well, just a fantastic offense. Justice, Shock ended up swinging back. Volskaya and Gibraltar with theirs. And here we are now on Lijiang Tower. Super is in. The secret weapon of the Shock has been uncaged. And I can imagine, like you said, we're going to see some Rhyme. But Night Market, great for Rhyme, like you said.
Control Center is decent. Gardens is not great for Rhyme.
Yeah.
Like, it's not awesome. But 2 out of the 3, like, definitely Night Market, and then I think Control Center, we've seen Ryan played on Control Center in the last couple of days. So it's 66% chance that you're going to a very good Ryan map. Like, it's 100% chance since you have to play at least 2 of them. So it makes a little bit of sense. We'll see what they want to run. Control has been weird, especially on Lijiang Tower, especially on the aforementioned maps, because you see a lot of Junkrat. You see some strange stuff happening. Symmetra can come out too. So we've already had a wild one, and what better way to end it here than Lijiang Center, or Lijiang Tower Control Center, and Super into the mix. And this is exactly what happened in the last.
Decay got grabbed before the grab even hit, and then blown away.
Yeah, and they lock Aim God up in there too.
Yeah. So if potentially if Decay stayed alive there, it could have been a very different story, but it was not to be, and that is why we are here. Super, Ryan, Choi, Zarya. Looks like Arns is going to be playing the mate, or maybe. Of course, Control Center can play a lot of times. We've seen a lot more Junkrat here recently than I thought we'd ever would, but Spam Hero is sometimes pretty good, especially in these very small corridors.
May Junkrat definitely makes a lot of sense. So Striker would be teleporting people out, then Concussion his way in. And it's going to beat a lot of charge to Decay, but I don't think they're worried about it. Okay, Reaper also makes sense. Huge Brawl comp. Like, this is the definition of Brawl comp.
Yeah. Choi's already slept, and Super is hacked, but The rest of the Justice are going to get split if they're not careful. And Aim God already goes down to Arms. Just a headshot. So one healer now dead for the Justice. They haven't really got much left in the bank. I mean, you're just going to fall over unless Stitch just has the performance of his life here. However, Arms does manage to get up Decay. Arms halfway to a Blizzard already as the point it does unlock. And the best thing about the Shock comp to Hex is the fact that you can basically just sit on it with the Square Man in the front line. The Decay, it does get booped up onto the high ground, but away from the point does mean Shock managed to find the cap. Violet does end up falling down, and this is a good sign because now Aim God can now come back in.
Yeah, this isn't terrible. I mean, when you get high charge too, you can kind of just burn through the Rhine shield as well. But right now, Sims is going control and counting up. Bob comes in.
Oh dear. Yeah, the Bob knock up. Oh, the Bob kills two. Maybe a third. Come on, Bob, you can do it. Oh no, Striker's going to TP away. That was really nice juggling there at the point, I must say, Hex, because Striker went into Wraith form to try and juggle it, trying to make sure they could control it as long as possible, and then it was Super's turn, but he got knocked up from the Bob, and then his shield was way too damaged, and Jandu just hit him with 2 right clicks and he died.
If there was ever a candidate for Bob Player of the Match, this set would be it, because Bob has come up huge for Justice time and time again.
That is a big wall, and Striker's TPing in the back line. There's the EMP, though, try and counter it. The Blizzard already came out, and the Justice are split. Both tanks are dead. Stitch is on the high ground. Can he find any kills? He gets one, and Aim managed to kill off Moth with the nade, but the sustain, really, and the staying power from the Shock is just way too great, really, for the Justice to do anything. Another very quick flip around, as 34% for the Justice was built. Well, that's about it, and now the Shock could just push on forward. They've got point control, so they can hold these doors with the Mei and the Rhine.
Yeah, this is the absolute worst spot. This is why you run Rhine, and also you mentioned this is why you run Mei as well, because Mei just it's a second shield. That's what Wall is, and now entry becomes impossible for the Washington Justice. They don't have a Lucio to speed through. They don't have their own Mei to put a vertical wall up and maybe walk through the archway that way. So how do you ever break through this? I guess Decay maybe goes in with Bubble, try to get a good grab in, but you know, it's going to be a big ask to get back through here. I guess you back cap.
1v1 duel, yeah, you might as well. The Bob's going to come out, the Shadows, oh, it's absolutely huge. Oh, it was all set up for him, but it still looked pretty. And there's the Coalescence to finish him off as well. Almost a complete team kill if Tuba wasn't invisible somewhere on the map. And now the Shock can hold the fort. And what do they have? Well, they got Blizzard, and they've got the beat to back it up with as well. This is going to be a tall order for the Justice to break this one. They're going to have to grab the tanks in the front line and hope this whole hog does something, but this Blizzard's going to keep them at bay.
They have to do what they're doing, and they're running the Ashe on a flank to try to just open it up a little bit with Dynamite, with the damage boost over there. It does at least open it up, gains them entry. The next big thing to look at is probably see where this grab hits. It hits plenty, but shield
look at that, instantly. The Blizzard is used in the front line. Violet goes down, but everything's all frozen up. Not much they can do in the front line. Johnny kills Striker with the whole hog, but still the Shock control the points. The EMP can come in at any moment from the Justice, and it does look like the Shock now just want to back off. Forcing something else here would be beautiful, but getting the Graviton Surge out isn't too bad whatsoever. Yeah, the Shock are going to forego the points. They know Justice only have 35%. They only need one fight win here, and it's going to be good.
Now, Washington has to show us what they've showed us the last couple days, their ability to cycle ultimates. EMP should win you a fight alone. EMP and then maybe throw in a Nano onto Decay so he can get grabbed. Bob has been good for them. The worst thing for Washington Justice is to use everything here. San Francisco would gladly take that on a platter and come back for a single more fight. Tuba's in a decent spot. He gets spotted. He gets
perfect EMP. There's 5, and Super as well is instantly dealt with. Stitch is going to send out the Bob, but they don't need anything else. The Shock hit with a large EMP, and now they just go again. They've got, you know, a bit of fight and a bit here, and Choyobin is nearing that Graviton Surge as well.
Yeah, so they're going to have Grav and Blizzard as well. They can open with Coalescence. Open with Coal is a common call because Coal is just kind of a fire and forget it. Creates a lot of space for your team.
Goodness.
Super.
They're just running around them completely. As Violet was slept, by the way, so his call actually got interrupted. There was nothing else he could really do. Stitch is going to fall, and the Blizzard comes out, and now they're in trouble. The wall to stop anything from going onto Jandu, but the Nano Boost still lands. The Graviton Surge drags everybody to the point, however, and that's the Shatter hitting the floor, and that will be it. The Shock control the point as soon as they kill Tuba. Stitch is going to come back on the Tracer, but it's not going to really mean all too much. Control center will go over to the Shock. There's going to be one final touch from Stitch, but they need a miracle at this point. Janu is just going to get feasted upon as well and actually just booped away from Moth. They got a lot of ults going online too. The Graviton Surge is going to come out. Can they find any damage? In fact, Arns ends up going down, and a late beat from the Shock doesn't quite end up saving. A resurrection onto Janu might be good. The Shock might have just overstepped their boundaries. Decay ends up falling. They just need one more pick, ideally. Tuba finds a hack and is building up towards an EMP. This should just be it if they can get this one off on the front line, but this coalescence is good. The EMP rockets through Shock and hits 5 people. Johnny still ends up going down, and Stitch is coming back as well. Somehow Justice have found their way into this fight, but Super is still swinging. 10% away from the Earth Shatter, and Moth finds a kill onto Stitch. There you go. Oh, my heart was fluttering, but Shock, they settle it. Aim God and Decay end up going down, and Shock managed to control the points. Overtime ticks through, and that'll be it. Stage number 1 over to Shock.
Well, I mean, you can't ask Tuba to do much more. 13 enemies EMP'd that round. I think he got 3 off total because I saw a couple of 5 spots in there. But wow, he did everything he could. It was just that one came a little bit too little too late. RNGs, this does favor the Washington Justice here as they don't have to go to Night Market. It'll be interesting to see what San Francisco plays here. Right now, Super has gone over to the Roadhog. It's just a really tough ask for Ryan here. Like, your shield's going to melt if you try to go to the pack room, and going across bridge, just asking to get knocked off. Washington showing us a Pharah early on. It's a good map for her.
It is a very good map. Super can now switch over to the Roadhog. He's earned his free pair of sneakers. A 5-man shatter earned in that one, so he's had enough of Rectangle Man. It is back onto the Hog. Is it as nasty as he says it is? Although he says every hero he plays is nasty. I saw his Genji play, so yeah, I beg to differ. Oh, Super hooked in. Oh, he's going to get killed? No, he's not. Luckily enough, the team is there. At his back. Oh, he gets booped though by Tuba. Oh, into the drink you go, Super.
Answering the age-old question, can pigs fly? No, they cannot.
Ooh, nice. Okay, that was a bubble. That was a very well-timed bubble there by Choi. Saving Moth's life. He sleeps it deadly too, by the way, with these competition tags. Although it doesn't really matter all too much, the Super wasn't really there to capitalize on the sleep on Decay. Justice going to be able to hold this for quite a while, considering Tuba's up in the skies. There's not a lot of angles here. Arns can really deal with him as he's in this white room. Super does end up going down yet again. The barrage is going to come through as well. That's almost a team kill. Striker in the back, and Choi going low as well. He is going to fall. Goodbye, Striker. Team kill for the Justice. Not quite a Super spawn, but we'll give it to you. And now they control the point. And Graviton Surge coming up for today. So it's literally just ult cycling at this point. Shock really haven't had a lot of time to build up ults of their own.
I mean, it's been so good for Washington Justice, the patience that they're playing with and just waiting for San Francisco to come out, because eventually they have to leave that room because, I mean, Tuba's got him boxed in. But I also love that Washington's just ignoring Striker. Striker's in the back line, no one's even looking at him because they don't care. They're out healing it.
Striker has Pulse Bomb though, with Nano Boost onto Tuba. That's a one-shot onto Violet. Didn't see that one coming. Luckily to get res, he's actually lost the Mercy. He doesn't know where Moth went, but he popped Valkyrie to get out of there rather easily, and a Graviton Surge on top of Janu. That's the wrong team, Decay, unfortunately. I think there was maybe a little bit of anti-synergy there as the whole Hog was going off as well. They managed to kill Super again. He goes down once more to Janu. I think got hooked into the pit before he actually got killed off. 83% in building. This is going the full distance. Justice only need 10% more to take it to stage number 3.
There's also a barrage and a pulse bomb ready. I would love Stitch to just try to blink to the back line, a little triple blink pulse bomb in there, and force them to go into White Room.
Hunt is dead! Are you kidding me already? And now Tuba's got free Rain Hex. The barrage is going to act as a doorway, so the shot can't get onto the point. Luckily enough, Super comes back on the ball. Doesn't instantly die like he did in the Hog before. Aim God falls, and that's a good pick. However, Choi going down. Super is going to have a tough opportunity now to make anything work. Arn finds a nice little res onto Aim God as well. Decay now 100 energy after that Pulse Bomb landed onto Janu. Arns is just having the roughest game on the McCree. Cannot touch Tuba up in the air as he finally falls. The rest of Shock just end up falling around him, and this is going all the way. The San Francisco Shock get 100 to 0s on Gardens. And now we're on our final stage, Night Market. Super can play on the Rhine again. This is the stage that he wants to do it. Choi's locking the Rhine. He's like, no, Super, you're not having this one, sir. This is my pick.
I want Washington to play the Far again. I would think that Ons maybe go to something like an Ashe or a Widow for the one-shot potential because Tuba's going to be pocketed. Other than that, they can have Violet help out with the Discord, but Tuba's Far gave them a lot of trouble. This first fight could not be any more important, and San Francisco's going to get there faster. There's a teleporter for Washington, but there's a Lucio for San Francisco mid-fight, critical.
Okay, a little bit of speed boost.
Yeah, San Francisco's got both the teleporter and the speed boost, but Courtyard...
Okay.
First take, yeah, San Francisco was playing point.
Yeah, I mean, look at the comp. Mei and Sim, the classics TP on to the point, and then... Oh no, actually Arn's switching over to the Kree, so he stayed on the Mei, just in case they wanted to play it, but he's going to have a really hard time. And Stitch knows this too, that with the point unlocking, you're going to be able to hit tab, see Arns is on the Kree, so you might be able to just spawn camp it. Striker does get naded, and Super actually slept. Stitch easily dealing with Striker as the point unlocks and Shock go for the cap. They're not even able to do so as the rest of the Justice are able to step on just in time. Arns at least deals with Stitch, but he's all alone near this mega health pack. He can scurry for it, but I mean, that's really all you can do. Of Moth dashing back to the spawn, or at least trying to, with Tuba taking care of Arns. That will be the cap for the Justice.
Yeah, and you have to make wholesale changes too. You can't try to come back in with the Symmetra either. Like, the Symmetra is the gambit that you think like you were going to hold point and you're going to take point, but now with Washington in firm control, giant changes coming out here. San Francisco will change at least 4 heroes. I think actually 5 as Moth moves over too. San Francisco a complete reset. Washington has taken control of the point, control of the courtyard, and control of the skies here.
Yeah, Arns has a nice open bit of area to work with, Hex, but Tuba can play really safe in the point itself.
Yeah, you play in the birdcage. No one's called it that, but I just always think of it as that when there's a pair inside.
Well, there you go. You made it a thing. That's okay. Super looking for a hook here. Discord Orb's going to be fairly important too. You can put them on Tuba or on the tanks, obviously instantly kill them. There's the hook from Super. Nice little one, but Tuba's in the back. Oh, on to Choi and to Choi. Oh my goodness. The Washington Justice, 50% on the board. Transcendence for Violet to try and move forward. Decay is 10% away from a Graviton Surge, and Violet just exits it. He just exits stage left. He goes back to spawn. They weren't even able to capitalize on the healing coming out, so now Decay can get a free grab on the front line.
I mean, the Transcendence saved his life, but that's all it did. You know, I'm going to go ahead and say it. A low-value Transcendence. There, I said it.
So Josh Transcendence just leaves the game with it, basically. There's the Graviton Surge, instant Pulse Bomb on top as well. Jono at least ends up getting killed off, and Decay is pretty low as well. Nice little bit of dynamite there to force the Mercy all the way back, but with the Ana as well, you've got so much healing to bear that you're not really too bothered about that dynamite going off. Striker in the 1v1 against Stitch, and Shock do manage to end up getting the cap, but at what cost? I mean, Justice now potentially only one fight away, 82% on board, and the Shock have only just managed to find the cap.
82%. AimGod is able to farm up the nano boost as well. Tuba is nearing Barrage. Stitch makes a change over to the Ashe so that he can at least try to counter Ans's Ashe on the other side. San Francisco needs to kind of stall out this fight just a little bit, because as bad as that Transcendence was from Violet, he does be clicking on people, and he's almost got another Transcendence yet again. Tank Ultimate's also ready to go for San Francisco. Washington, well, they gave up on the Barrage.
Yeah, they did, but they still got that nano. If Janu finds a hook, or if he gets hooked himself, you can instantly apply that nano and make sure he's safe, and or can almost basically one-shot somebody. Both breathers have been used by the Hogs first. Oh, Super! That was good. Almost baited him in there. You can see him kind of walking towards him. He didn't really expect that at all. There's the hook, there's the one-shot, and Ark just flies away back to his spawn. But still, good for the Shock. Transcendence. They've got Pulse Bomb and the grab too.
All right, so we're going to fight again at 80%, which means it is very, very close to the final fight. San Francisco is known for being aggressive on their defense, and trust me, they are playing defense right now on this control map. They have the grab. The grab goes in immediately.
A ridiculously early grab. The Pulse Bomb's going to layer on top as well, and Striker finds 2.
The hook in to Janu, 78% and building for the Shock. They managed to resurrect Violet as well in the Chaos, so they're going to be a full 6 here for this final fight.
And Violet has Transcendence too, so even if this grab does come up from Decay, which you would imagine, the Nano has to go to either Janu or Decay. Janu has Whole Hog, so that's perhaps a good option. Washington still has ults. This one is not over just yet.
They managed to touch the point as well with Tuba. Answers a perfect fire line with the Bob out as well. Decay ends up going down and Violet pops the Transcendence to get a bit of momentum on the point. That's going to be it, surely. Justice do manage to find the reflip, but they're already dead. Arns finds 2 with the help of the Bob. Violet and the rest of the Shock jump onto the point. It really is the battle of Thermopylae Hex. The Spartans tried so hard, but they couldn't quite make it work. Aim God, Decay, they're dead. Overtime ticking down and Shock finding the reverse sweep. Janu on the emergency Diva tries to get back to the point in time, but it wasn't to be. The Shock are going to push everybody away with the Whole Hog, and that will be it. The secret weapon in Super comes out and saves the Shock from getting 3-2 by the Justice. The Justice now in the losers bracket, and Shock take the W.
A simple sacrifice of earth and water. San Francisco Shock are able to pull back the reverse sweep. Washington gave them everything they could possibly handle. The San Francisco Shock clutch it out at the very end, but all credit to Washington. Is there a more frightening team in the lower bracket after what we've seen from them in the last 3 days? Remember, it ain't over yet for the Washington Justice, and as heartbreaking as this one is, you still have to feel confident that we can straight up roll with the best teams in the league, and we can take maps off of them. We can take it to a stage 3 of map 5 against the best teams in the league. So Washington, I'm sure they'll get over it. We'll have to play again, but San Francisco comes back, mirror compositions, outstanding plays. They plug in, you know, Super and his giant ego. So they're actually playing with 7 men on the field. It doesn't seem fair, but they're able to pull it off at the end.
It did take him a little while to warm up on the Hog, but he eventually got it rolling. And yeah, the Justice do look incredible. Taking maps, like you mentioned, off the Shock is just amazing. I'm really excited to see how they do down in the losers bracket, but the Shock, they're moving on. The brackets, if there were any perfect ones left, they would still be alive, I can imagine. We have got an exciting game coming up next, though. We have the Paris Eternal against the Atlanta Reign, but that's after this break. And I mean, what more can you ask from the Shock, really? Just solid mental, being able to swap people in and out as well and get people in that are really fresh. Maybe you're a little bit tired. It's a bit exhausting, of course, playing this many maps in a row. And hey, Super comes in, fresh, pulls out the Rhine, pulls out the Hog, and it worked out for them at the end of the day. We mention it all the time, but they do have MVP level candidates on the bench and role stars too, and flexing their roster at the very end just did it for them, and it's fantastic they can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you saw, you know, Twilight comes in, plays a map because they can fill every single role. But to me, one of the biggest difference makers was Violet. Jack, he is going to be our Xfinity player of the match because, well, he just clicks on people. It was one of the worst Transcendences I've seen, but he knows that if I can just stay alive, I can come back and click more people, and I'll have more Transcendences. And he also played a little Moira. I'm more impressed with his aim on Zen, actually.
Yeah, I think I am too, just a little bit. The Zenyatta's been fairly interesting because Zen gets so much done with no shields because you're just left-clicking into Hog and to Zarya, and the damage you're able to output is enormous. And on top of that, Discord Orb as well. Put it on a Hog, that Tracer is going to have such an easy time burning the Hog down, forcing cooldowns out of supports, forcing just the breather, you know? Like, it's a very, very tough ask as well because you are Zen, you are squishy, 200 HP, you get hooked, you're dead. Tracer's going to flank you, yeah, more than not, you're dead. Unless, of course, you're someone like Twilight who can just 1v1 the Tracer, but no better person ready to give it to. Although, as always, it's very hard to pick out a certain member of the Shock when they play well because they're all at the top of the game.
I mean, like, he just shut down Tuba's Tracer so often that Tuba just decided to stop going for him. And a lot of it, you have to give credit to Moth, who is always there on the spot. Like, it seems to have a sixth sense. He's flying towards Zenyatta before the Tracer's even fired her first shot. And so you have to be perfect on the Tracer to do it. Tuba got rocked a little bit on Gibraltar a couple times because of that. But, yeah, I mean, you could give it to anyone in San Francisco. Today we chose Violet because both of us really like Zenyatta, and even though he had some interesting transcendences, when you, like we talk about with Decay too, I will forgive a lot based on what you give me otherwise. So yes, it wasn't a great transcendence. I don't care. You're still way better. You can transcendence whenever you want. You can do no wrong in my eyes, Violet.
Let's have a look at the bracket. Hex. We've got the Shock going through, so they'll face the winner of our next match, which is Reign and Eternal. And we have Fusion against Valiant, of course. That is going to be tomorrow. And I think I looked at a fair few brackets of a lot of people, and it's been quite conclusive that the Shock and the Philadelphia Fusion will eventually face off and make their way towards the grand finals as well, but maybe not as quite as lucky. I'm excited to see how the Justice are going to do, who are in our losers bracket now, so they're going to be facing the loser of our next match too. So we're Gladiators and Mayhem on Sunday as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely upset potential. There is parity in the Overwatch League. Any given owl day is what I like to say, that absolutely anybody can take down a match against any other team, and this was the proof in the pudding right here, Washington, San Francisco. What a match.
Well, let's have a word with Moth, our Mercy superstar. We got Johnny on the line with it.
Thank you very much, Jaws. Yes, I'm here with Moth from the San Francisco Shock. Reverse sweeping the Washington Justice. Not even close, Moth. What is your initial reaction from that series?
It was a lot harder than we expected it to be, and the comp they played against us, they played a lot better than we thought it was, so it ended up becoming very scrappy.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this Washington Justice composition? Obviously, they've been playing it all playoffs so far. Was there anything that caught you off guard with their play initially?
I think on King's Row, it was just their aggression of their tank line, especially, that caught us off guard. I think King's Row we lost due to a lot of mechanical mistakes, but they were playing so well they were forcing us to make them.
All right, so obviously going into halftime as well, you were down 0-2. What is the team's emotions going into that halftime? What is the discussion taking place in the halftime to really recharge going into the second half?
I mean, Krusty was really level with us and told us what we needed to fix. Super kept saying that no matter what, we were going to pull off the reverse sweep, and we did.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely did. A very close match on Lijiang Tower as well. And we saw the compositional swap where Super started playing the Roadhog. What was his communication like when he swapped over to that Roadhog? Did you have a special plan in mind with his Roadhog, or why did you make that switch?
We made that switch for a couple different reasons. We felt that Super had been performing really well on the Roadhog in scrims. On Lijiang in particular, he's always done well on that hero, and also just his mechanics are really good. We felt we could win that mirror. It didn't go our way on Garden, but we made the swap after losing first fight on Night Market, and it worked.
Yeah, sure did. So obviously now we're back, unexpectedly so, in a bit of a Zarya meta here now. And of course last year you had Sinatra on your team at your disposal, but this year he's retired. Who has really stepped up for the San Francisco Shock this playoffs? Because we thought of Sinatra as like a leadership figure. He was the one doing a lot of the communication, keeping things calm. Now you reverse sweep the Washington Justice. Who in the team really filled that leadership role and kept the composure within the team?
I don't think it's one player individually. I think we've all had to step up since Sinatra's left. Everyone's doing their part.
For sure. Well, that's bound to help you, of course, going deeper into the playoffs. Best of luck in the next round.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Moth, for that quick interview. And now, of course, we got more Overwatch coming your way. Stay tuned right after this break.